1 month later, Han Fei harvested a total of 20,000 level 4 energy crystals and 3 level 5 energy crystals before entering his origin star. Han Fei's heart sank when he returned. Sure enough, Han Song was gone, and the loose life forms had been taken back. Obviously, Han Song had gathered all the loose bodies. He had no choice. He needed strength, so he couldn't care so much. Although loose lives had to be nurtured again, compared to watching the human race be exterminated. Cultivating loose lives was simpler. Buzz. Han Fei appeared in the Sea of Stars and quickly came to Hong Yu's origin star. Hong Yu. Sea Realm. Outside the Godfiend Sea, near the Infinite Mining Area, a large-scale battle was going on. However, in this battle, countless black-robed people appeared. These people were all undead, but they were also once humans. In the chaotic wasteland, Han Fei had reached an agreement with the immortal temple. After humans perished, they could choose whether to switch to become an undead. Furthermore, the undead humans could stay to protect the human race. Obviously, these black-robed people were all undead human beings. At this moment, in the temporary human camp, a group of people gathered. Hong Yu said, "Commander, this is already the second large-scale battle this year. A large number of people from the Light City in the Central Sea Divine Realm have already appeared. Our human undead army has suffered heavy losses." Luo Xiaobai instructed, "The Undead Legion is on standby and dispersed to the 10 legions. Has the latest census data been released yet?" "Yes, but that was just pre-war statistics. We may need to do another census after the war." "Tell me the data." Hong Yu said, "At present, the human race has a total population of 138.6 billion, including the undead, of which 20.1 billion are undead. There are 29,242 people in the sky-opening realm, 6,412 of them are undead. There are 3,036,987 sea establishers, with 5,621,34 undead, and there are 1.3 billion venerables." Luo Xiaobai frowned slightly. "Distribute the resources properly. If I guess right, a war may break out soon." Hong Yu asked in surprise, "Why?" Luo Xiaobai said, "Because there are more people from Light City. Whenever there is an abnormal movement, there must be a big plan. The Light City is in charge of the power of light and purification, which counters the undead. But there are 20 billion undead in our human race. With these increases, it is far from enough. But they still came. Do you remember 100 years ago? The sudden appearance of the Light City caught us off guard and caused us heavy losses. In the past decade or so, the people from the Light City have been increasing, both openly and secretly. They seem to be here to use the human race as a training tool, but they must be plotting something. Once the undead army is contained, there will definitely be a new, unprecedented round of war. We can no longer afford the loss 100 years ago." While they were having a meeting, someone suddenly rushed in. It was Huang Ergu, Wang Xiaojiu, and the others who were left behind to protect Luo Xiaobai. At this moment, they looked like they had been through a lot of battles. Huang Ergu said, "Commander, it's not good. The ferocious beasts are besieged. The 7 major forces in the Central Sea Divine Realm have mobilized super-strong masters, almost sealing off the Infinite Mining Area." Sha Diao dug from the depths of the northern mining area to the south at the risk of his life. It took us 8 years to establish a relatively safe route. Luo Xiaobai's expression didn't change at all. Thank you for your hard work. Hong Yu's face changed drastically. The ferocious beasts have been besieged? How dare those guys from the Central Sea Divine Realm? Luo Xiaobai said, this is a matter of course. When Huang Ergu and the others couldn't return in 3 years, I knew that something happened in the infinite mining area. It seems that they had been planning this battle for a long time. Hong Yu asked anxiously, then how should we deal with it? Luo Xiaobai pondered for a moment. Let's just pretend that we don't know anything. After this battle, try to recuperate and conserve our strength. In addition, distribute all the resources. Someone said in surprise, Commander, we don't have many resources left. Luo Xiaobai looked at that person. The war is coming. It's useless to keep the resources. Just distribute them all. Yes, Commander. Luo Xiaobai looked at a young man playing dice next to her and said, Zhou. Run, what did the people in the capital of horror say? The young man narrowed his eyes and said, they are willing to provide a resource, but only this once, unless it's proven that boss is still alive. This resource can be used at any time, but only in the name of the Avengers. And once this resource is used, the other members of the Avengers will become hostages. If the human race is defeated, we will be scapegoats. Everything will have nothing to do with the capital of horror. Luo Xiaobai said, the human race won't be defeated. Give me the resources. After a few seconds of silence, Zhou Run said, okay. Luo Xiaobai dispersed everyone, leaving only Han Xian, Zhou Run, and Hong Yu. Han Xian asked, Xiaobai, tell me the truth. Where did Han Fei go? He has been gone for 100 years, right? Luo Xiaobai said, he. Luo Xiaobai was thinking about how to respond, when she suddenly heard Hong Yu say, Master Human Emperor contacted me in the Sea of Stars. Han Xian and Zhou Run both perked up and looked at Hong Yu. Luo Xiaobai's eyes also flashed. Finally, Han Fei's original body has returned? After Hong Yu sacrificed a late-stage star transformation realm puppet, Han Fei finally returned. When he appeared in the sea realm again, Han Fei immediately scanned this place with his perception. When he found that the overall population of the human race had suddenly decreased so much, his face darkened. In particular, the huge number of undead human beings showed how devastating battles that the human race had experienced during these 400 years. Few people knew that Han Fei had avatars, not even Hong Yu. At this moment, Han Fei returned. Immediately, the god of war, the 2 elders of the lava giant tribe, Lu Qianxi, and the others all came. Chu Hao also came, but he didn't appear. Chu Hao was now acting as the backer of the human race. Not only could he not appear normally, but even his attacks had to be restricted. Otherwise, if he attacked repeatedly, it would only arouse the enemy's suspicion. The god of war asked, my disciple, is it your avatar or your original body? Han Fei said, my original body. Huff. Instantly, the god of war and the others heaved a sigh of relief. It was good that it was Han Fei's original body. In their opinion, there was naturally a difference between the original body and avatars. Although Han Song was theoretically part of the main soul and was indeed very powerful, he was only equivalent to a pure carefree level cultivator. Only Han Fei's original body had the ability to contact all parties. Hong Yu, on the other hand, was dumbfounded. What original body? Did Master human emperor have an avatar? Han Fei didn't explain to Han Yu, but said, thank you for your hard work while I was away. God of War, it's not hard at all. This is our path. Whoever wants to stop us is our enemy. We shall fight for our future. It doesn't matter whether we have you or not. The lava giants said, human beings and our lava giant race share the same origin. You don't have to be overpolite. Our lava giant race has done nothing more than forging some weapons. Lu Qianxi said, Master, you've been gone for a long time. The human race was almost wiped out several times. Brat, you're more reliable than your parents. It's been more than 400 years, but you didn't even come back to take a look. I want to curse. Han Fei knew that old Han and his mother didn't appear, probably because they wanted the human race to experience all this on their own. He could calmly take the Thunder Note ancient temple's trial, because of his parents. He believed that if he was really in danger, they would take action. However, hearing that the human race had almost been wiped out several times, Han Fei was still quite moved. Then he looked at Luo Xiaobai, who looked cold. Although Luo Xiaobai looked calm and dignified at the moment, Han Fei could still see fatigue in her eyes. Han Fei said, let me talk to Xiaobai. The others nodded slightly. Han Fei had just returned and there were too many things he didn't know. The most suitable person to tell him was naturally Luo Xiaobai. They had seen how much pressure Luo Xiaobai had been under over the years. To be honest, if it were any of them, they didn't think they could withstand such heavy pressure. After everyone left, Han Fei looked at Luo Xiaobai. When did you prove Dao? Luo Xiaobai said, 186 years ago. Han Fei said, sorry, I'm late. Luo Xiaobai shook her head. It's good that you came back alive. Han Song couldn't tell if you were dead or alive. He only knew that you were abducted by a powerful force. Later, he went to find your fifth senior brother and learned that you were trapped in a place that even the Void Temple couldn't rescue you from. Han Fei asked, where is my avatar? Why didn't I sense him? Luo Xiaobai said, he is out on a mission. Han Fei looked at the battlefield where the fierce battle was taking place and asked, what happened all these years? Too many things had happened in the past 400 years. Han Fei and Luo Xiaobai chatted for a whole day. Most of the time, Luo Xiaobai talked about what happened casually. Of course, Han Fei knew that it wouldn't be that simple. Therefore, he planned to ask Lu Qianxi again. Finally, a day later, Han Fei learned what happened to the human race over the years. It turned out that when he was trapped in the Thunder Note ancient temple, the first sea demon tide broke out. That sea demon tide could be said to be extremely crazy. Many human beings who knew that they didn't have long to live or couldn't improve their realm died in that huge battle, with as many as 10 billion casualties. Half a year later, the second tide of sea demons broke out. Half a year later, the third sea demon tide broke out. The enemy's purpose in the 3 sea demon tides was very simple. It was to consume and wipe out the middle and low-level humans. They had indeed achieved it. The 3 sea demon tides caused the death of 27.6 billion human beings. Hearing this number, Han Fei was furious. He knew that not everyone in the human race had the potential to cultivate to a higher level. He also knew that these people would naturally die under the corrosion of time. However, natural death and self-detonation in combat were two different states. A person could grow old peacefully and die happily. In their life, they had lived, loved, fought, experienced all kinds of ups and downs, and finally died of old age. However, they had no chance to choose such a way of death. They chose to fight, chose to self-destruct, and chose to defend the longevity of the human race with their flesh and blood. They were respectable and pioneers in the expansion of the human race. After the 3 sea demon tides, the other party finally stopped for a while, because they couldn't continuously trigger the outbreak of the sea demon tides. After all, the human race had more than 100 billion people. And to create a sea demon tide that could shock the entire human race, they needed more sea demons than this number. At the periphery of the God-fiend sea, it would take a lot of time to do this. The beginning of the dead humans' transition to become the undead was also after this battle. At that time, as arranged by Han Song and Luo Xiaobai, the people who died began to secretly switch to become the undead. However, they didn't immediately fight on the battlefield. After all, it was a trump card. In the 18th year after the 3 battles, a new war began. It was still a sea demon tide, but not as crazy as before. The goal was to regularly wipe out the mid-level and low-level humans and prevent them from reproducing. After all, in such a state of war, most people were not in the mood to have children. Otherwise, when a child was born, they were very likely to lose their parents. Besides, the human race was in a difficult situation. They were not sure how long they could last and when they could win the war. Therefore, the frequent tides of sea demons caused a large-scale negative increase in the human population. Even if they didn't experience war, countless people would die of natural aging in 100 years, and there were also many people who died from cultivation, not to mention having to face a war without bearing offspring. Therefore, in just over 400 years, the population of the human race fell from the terrifying number of 188 billion to 118.5 billion, losing nearly 70 billion people. If it weren't for the fact that many human beings were willing to switch to become the undead and fight for the human race, this number was bound to fall below the 100 billion mark. Finally, 100 years after the human race stepped into the wilderness, a catastrophe specifically targeting the human race came. It was the Worm Sea, launched by a power called the Sky Spider Worm Valley in the Central Sea Divine Realm. On the way of the human race, they used the sea demon tide to nurture insects for 100 years. In that battle, more than 10 billion human beings perished. Han Fei could imagine how an overwhelming number of insects were engulfing the human race. They were not sea demons, but their number far exceeded that of sea demons. It was difficult to kill them. There were all kinds of insects with different characteristics. Some were extremely poisonous, and some could parasitize. In short, that battle could be said to be the first crisis of extinction in the history of the human race. Although the former Waterwood world also had the insect race, they were on a completely different level from the insect race in the Central Sea Divine Realm. On the human side, all the manipulators took action and cast the Seaweed City wall together. The poison cultivators assisted them and released all kinds of strange poisons, hiding in the Seaweed City wall and making the sea poisonous. Han Song took the opportunity to go to the infinite mining area, ask Li Luoluo for insect control techniques, and everyone in the human race practiced insect control techniques. Finally, the human race ended this war that had been in a stalemate for 3 years. But it was also this time that the enemy destroyed the fighting form of 5 major professions of the human race. They seemed to know the functions of the 5 major professions very well, forcing the human manipulators to give up the fighting unit of 5-person team with the insect army. The insectoids had been blocked, but the overall combat ability of the human race had declined to a certain extent. During this period of time, there were various big and small incidents, such as the siege of some special insects, and so on. It could be said that nearly half of the humans in this battle died in small-scale battles, not head-on battles. If the tide of worms was the first crisis of destruction, the situation became even more complicated after the divine demon forest of the Central Sea divine realm joined the battle. In the 198th year of the human race's entry into the wilderness, a war with both demon plants and insect tides broke out. The divine demon forest of the Central Sea divine realm entered the arena and competed with the human manipulators for the right to control demon plants. The sea of insects attacked again, but in a different way. Dozens of insect armies such as the rain of insects, the exploding flying insects, and the marching worm sea attacked again. According to Luo Xiaobai's judgment, the other party might have thought that they could destroy the human race in the first insect tide, so there weren't many kinds of insects. However, the other party clearly didn't expect that the human manipulators could build such a huge seaweed city wall, let alone that the human race had mastered the insect control and insect killing techniques. As a result, their 100-year plan had failed. Therefore, the second time, dozens of species of insect army attacked and finally forced the undead human army to appear. The army of the undead was not affected by the insect poison and the parasitic power, so the second crisis of destruction ended with the appearance of the undead. At that moment, the Central Sea divine realm clearly knew about the cooperation between the human race and the immortal temple. They didn't condemn or target the immortal temple. They probably didn't dare to. Therefore, in the following period of time, the other party's strategy also changed. From trying to destroy the human race at once, they turned to frequent battles with the human race. This simple plan was actually very effective. In 100 years, 16 billion people of the human race were slowly nibbled away. In the 302 years after the human race entered the wilderness, a brand new force joined the battle, which was the Light City in the Central Sea divine realm. In Luo Xiaobai's words, it was a hypocritical force that claimed to be light. From the name of the Light City, it could be seen that this was a power that was good at purification techniques. Although the immortal temple was very powerful, the general strength of human undeads wasn't that strong. Therefore, they were no match for the power of purification. The strength of the Light City was limited, and they couldn't purify the tens of billions of undead humans at once. Therefore, the third battle of destruction began in the form of a light storm. After all, the humans couldn't stop cultivating just because they had enemies. That was no different from waiting for death. Therefore, before the crisis came that day, furious waves swept out without any warning. The enemies directly used all kinds of means to destroy the human race. Therefore, an unprecedented super hurricane was set off outside the Godfiend Sea. In the hurricane, Chu Hao covered the sky with one hand and pierced through the hurricane. Only then did the human race have time to gather. Han Fei knew that this was probably a test. The other party was testing if there was still a great monarch protecting the human race. After discovering the existence of the great monarch, the war began again. There was a tide of sea demons, the sky spiderworm valley, the divine demon forest, and a huge spaceship from the central sea divine realm. From the huge ship, millions of sea establishers were projected down, and these experts were all ancient demons. Each ancient demon brought tens of thousands of ordinary sea demons. For the first time, the central sea divine realm gathered its real military strength and began to attack the human race without hiding anything. In this battle, the undead human beings appeared one after another. However, that day, during the fierce battle, 10 blazing stars descended from the sky. As if doomsday had arrived. Countless undead human beings were purified by the scorching stars. And this move was still a test. The other party was deliberately forcing the Void Temple to take action. In this battle, the human race was almost unable to withstand it because the opponent was too strong. The average combat power of the human race was not at that level. Upon hearing this, Han Fei almost understood what they meant. This time, they wanted to use their real combat power to force him to appear, to force him to use the power of the Void Temple. As for the Void Temple, they were all strong masters. If they attacked these ordinary people, it would violate the rules. If they really attacked, it would be the 3 temples interfering in low-level battles in the world. The entire sea realm would rise up to resist them. However, there was an exception in the Void Temple, which was Senior Brother 6 God. Although Han Fei didn't know who Senior Brother 6 God was, he knew that in the Void Temple, only Senior Brother 6 God could sweep through the enemies without doing anything himself. Obviously, the people from the Central Sea Divine Realm also knew this, so they were prepared to pay billions of people in exchange for Han Fei to use the Void Mark. This was because the people from the Central Sea Divine Realm thought that Han Fei had used the Void Mark outside the Divine Capital Dynasty and in the chaotic wasteland. Then as long as he used it again, the human race would no longer have any protection. Luo Xiaobai certainly wouldn't let them have their way. Although she knew that it wasn't the strong masters of the Void Temple who attacked in the chaotic wasteland, she wanted to give these enemies in the Central Sea Divine Realm the illusion that Han Fei only had one Void Mark left. And Luo Xiaobai's decision would be a huge sacrifice. This was because she knew that if she didn't use the power of the Void Temple, many humans would definitely die. But once the Void Temple really took action, another large-scale extermination battle would definitely erupt in a very short period of time. Without any worries, the strong masters of the Central Sea Divine Realm would definitely mobilize a large number of strong masters in one fell swoop to sweep through the human race. When Han Fei's original body was here, this was an opportunity. They could take this opportunity to destroy a large number of enemies in one go. However, it was unknown if Han Fei's original body was dead or alive. Han Song was a demon plant and couldn't pretend to be Han Fei's original body at all. It was possible to deceive cultivators at the Dao proving level and the carefree level, but there were strong masters from the divine demon forest among the enemies. Could Han Song deceive the immortal level cultivators of the divine demon forest? Therefore, without Han Fei's original body around, the other party would definitely hold back. This was also the reason why Luo Xiaobai and Han Song's didn't use the Void Mark. In this war, more than 30 billion human beings were sacrificed. In the end, Han Song entered the God-Fiend Sea and pretended to trigger the God-Fiend Sea, forcing the Central Sea Divine Realm to retreat. After hearing what happened to the human race over the years, Han Fei couldn't help but feel angry and murderous. He couldn't save Shiman Linglan. He couldn't save the countless lives of the human race. As the dignified human emperor, how could he face his countless compatriots who had died? Han Fei clenched his fists and tried to restrain the killing intent in his heart. After closing his eyes for a long time, he slowly opened them. Han Song is still in the Godfiend Sea, right? Yes. Han Fei asked, how much time do we have? Luo Xiaobai said, I don't know. It might be soon, or in a year or two. As you know, a mere few hundred years is nothing to the cultivators of the sea realm. They also concluded that it's impossible for the human race to undergo any earth-shaking changes in these few hundred years. Therefore, as long as the void mark doesn't appear, they can still achieve their goal as long as they slowly nibble away at the human race. This time, they might be testing the waters first before launching an attack. If it were me, I would have done the same. Han Fei asked, but this time, you're not going to hold it in anymore, are you? Luo Xiaobai nodded. That's right. We can't hold it back anymore. If we hold it back any longer, the human race will be wiped out. This is something that the current human race can't afford. Although they will hold back when your original body is not around, it's enough to achieve our goal. Han Fei nodded heavily. Then let's kill to our heart's content this time. Let's kill until the world shakes and the entire world is scared of our human race. The next day after he met Luo Xiaobai, somewhere in the void, Han Fei and Chu Hao stood side by side. Han Fei said, thank you for all these years. Chu Hao said, you've helped me a lot. I've only attacked a few times. Han Fei shook his head slightly. The deterrent effect of a great monarch was far more meaningful than his actual attack. Han Fei said, after this battle, you may return to the West Wilderness first. The primordial divine race may appear again. Huh? Chu Hao's pupils were constricted slightly. When did this happen? Han Fei said, 400 years ago. But you don't have to worry. The West Wilderness is very chaotic now. These people must be just searching and haven't really found the primordial divine race. After I stabilize the human race, I will go to the West Wilderness. I still need your help in this battle. Chu Hao said, you should know that I can't attack directly. If I attack, they will only think that it's a strong master of the Void Temple attacking. This is unacceptable. If the Void Temple interferes in ordinary wars of the races, their image and reputation will be destroyed. Many factions will turn to fight against the Void Temple, and it will be difficult for the Void Temple to have any appeal. No. I don't need you to deal with ordinary people. I need you to kill some great monarchs. Chu Hao couldn't help but look at Han Fei sideways. He didn't know where Han Fei's confidence came from. If it were someone else, he wouldn't believe it at all, but when Han Fei said it, he somehow believed it. Chu Hao finally nodded slightly. Okay. 1 month later. The news of Han Fei's return spread, and someone ran into him in the infinite mining area. 3 months later. At the periphery of the Godfiend Sea, far away, huge tides began to surge. In the wilderness where the human race was, the wind, rain, and tides were surging, and the whistling wind was raging. With the experience of the battle 100 years ago, the humans quickly discovered that something was wrong. All trial takers, return to your positions and enter special combat. Readiness. All humans, return immediately when you hear me. Starting from today, enter. Special combat readiness. For a moment, everyone in the entire human race's trial field put down what they were doing. Come on, come back. Not again. The 100-year war occurs again. I don't know how many people will die this time. What are you talking about? Some of us have indeed died, but so what? We have become stronger. We are becoming stronger at an unbelievable speed. We have defeated the enemy again and again. That's right. Be prepared for battle. Everyone, survive. I believe Master Human Emperor will definitely return. No race had ever shown such efficiency. In just 3 days, the population of billions was brought together as one. When the lava giants were in special combat mode, ordinary weapons would be supplied unlimitedly. All the manipulators gathered into an army and began to lay out the seaweed walls and the seaborne prairie. The undead army of human beings gathered and hid in the seaborne prairie. The appearance of the light city made it difficult for them to form effective combat power on the sea, so they could only fight at the bottom of the sea. 3.5 months later, a terrifying hurricane came, accompanied by murderous intent. In the 428th year since the human race entered the wilderness, the enemies of the Central Sea divine realm attacked again, and a terrifying war of extermination came again. 3 months and 23 days later, the first wave of enemies appeared. A huge ship crossed space and appeared here. On the huge ship, countless seeds fell like rain. These seeds landed on the seaborne prairie and began to frantically absorb the vitalities of the demon plants. The manipulators also attacked one after another. The human race and the Central Sea divine realm had already fought many times, and the two sides were already quite familiar with each other's combat power. After these seeds fell, the undead army of the human race began to take action, launching the first wave of attacks. And the enemy clearly didn't expect to destroy the seaweed wall that the human race had been setting up for a long time with such a small method. Millions of sea establisher-level powerhouses appeared outside the giant ship. Then, countless phantoms of worlds appeared. In an instant, the sky was filled with an army of nearly 10 billion. This army waited quietly and didn't take action. As for the huge ship, it was floating in the air like a fortress, surrounded by a spiritual barrier. No one knew what kind of enemies were hidden there. In just half a day, the sea of insects came. It was the sea of insects, not the insect cultivators. The other party knew that to deal with the human race's seaweed city walls, they didn't need anything too powerful or the insect army. The insects surged into the seaweed walls like locusts. A large number of demon plants immediately released all kinds of toxins. A large number of insects were poisoned to death, but under the protection of these insects, a special kind of worms like leeches broke through the siege and crawled into the depths. Their bodies emitted a powerful suction force, and a large amount of vitality surged into their bodies. At this moment, a great battle began. It would take hundreds of years for a sea of insects to erupt. The sea of insects was so dense that the defense line of the seaweed city walls of hundreds of thousands of kilometers was annihilating at a visible speed. Some were drained of their vitality, annihilated, and some were gnawed away. Among them, there were multiple worm tides that charged forward crazily, trying to open a channel through the seaweed city wall. The undead army of the human race was resisting bravely. For a time, in the wilderness, killing intent soared. And this time among the demonic insects, wrapped in dense insect tides, one insect after another appeared, emitting golden light. Bang! 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 Golden light bloomed, and the light of purification spread on the seabed. 4. A moment, a large number of human undeads were purified and disappeared. Hanfei watched this scene coldly, but he knew that now was not yet the time to take action. With the insect sea as the vanguard, the sea demon tide would arrive in less than 4 hours. The divine demon forest, the light city, and the ancient demons hadn't launched attacks yet, so Hanfei had to wait. 4 hours passed. The sea demon tide had finally arrived. As the sea demon tide was launched, the divine demon forest showed up. 1 billion soldiers from the central sea, divine realm, descended on the seaborne prairie. These people were not humans, but all kinds of demon plants. These demon plants took root in the sea grassland and grew rapidly, wantonly, destroying the seaborne prairie and seaweed city walls. Luo Xiaobai ordered, the 10 legions, clear the way. Kill. Each of the 10 legions of the human race had 100,000 sea establishers. The strong opened the way, and the weak fought off the enemy. Sure enough, in the sea demon tide, a large number of sea establishers soared into the sky, and there were also 1 million sea establishers from the central sea divine realm. Knock, knock, knock. As the sea establishers entered the battlefield, the army of the 10 billion soldiers from the central sea divine realm all entered the battlefield, and formed an alliance with the sea demons and the insect sea to attack the defense line of the human race. The first offensive and defensive battle officially entered a battle of close combat. Kill. Brothers, let's kill these B***stards. If we die, we'll just turn into undeads. 100 years of bitter cultivation is just for this battle. Kill. If you have the guts, destroy our human race. Otherwise, sooner or later, we'll kill your entire clan and dig your ancestors out of their graves. Bang. Rumble. For a moment, roars, slashing sounds, the roars of great techniques, the sound of armor detonating, and the sound of self-detonation rang ceaselessly. The war in the wilderness was much fiercer than in the chaotic wasteland. In just one clash, hundreds of thousands of people had died. In just an hour, this place had turned into a sea of blood, and more than 1 million humans had died. Luo Xiaobai said, all the sky openers, fight. Luo Xiaobai looked at Hanfei in the void. The early appearance of the sky openers was bait. Now it was up to Hanfei. Sure enough, when the human sky openers stepped into the void, the other party immediately sent out more than 30,000 sky openers. At the same time, the other party's first round of probing began. In the seaweed walls, the places that hadn't been penetrated suddenly turned into a sea of fire. Someone activated the 8 blazing sun-like stars and made them roll on the seabed. This was only a method of the sky opening realm, but also the limit of the sky opening realm. The combination of the 8 stars was completely comparable to a monarch. Because the human sky openers joined the battle, the other party used this method. It was also at the moment when this method was used that a group of monarchs appeared on the floating giant ship. They wanted to force the human races monarchs to join the battle. In that case, they could capture and kill human monarchs. If the human monarchs didn't take action, these 8 blazing stars were almost unstoppable. This was the other party's way of testing, because these stars contained the power of purification, which was not something the undead humans could resist. The other party was forcing the Void Temple to take action. If the latter didn't take any action, these stars would open 8 passages through the Seaweed City walls. When the tide of sea demons passed through the seaweed walls like a flood, the human race would suffer heavy losses. In the sky, the monarchs of the Central Sea Divine Realm looked indifferent. And some even had a teasing look on their faces. Someone said, "This commander of the human race can really endure. If she still resists this time, won't we have to wait another 100 years?" Someone said indifferently, "The last time was an accident." Perhaps there were too many battles and the battles were too intense, so it triggered an anomaly in the Godfiend Sea. But this situation only happened once, and now the battlefield has changed. I'm afraid it won't happen again. No matter how much Luo Xiaobai can endure, she can't afford it this time. Someone smiled. Actually, I'm looking forward to her continuing to endure. If she endures it this time, we can definitely kill another 50 billion human beings. At that time, there will be less than half of the humans left. Then, next time, they might be wiped out. Someone echoed, "That's right. It's useless to endure it. The human race can hold out for another 300 or 500 years at most. We can just take it as a chance to train our soldiers." Someone pondered. "Now, the only thing we don't know is where Han Fei is. It's said that he has returned but hasn't shown up yet. I'm afraid he's planning something." At this moment, a deep voice came from behind everyone. "What can he do? If this wasn't the East Sea Divine Realm where it's difficult for us to mobilize troops, the human race would have died long ago. On the frontal battlefield, it's only a matter of time before the human race is destroyed. As the human emperor, Han Fei will definitely appear. He has to save this human race even if he doesn't want to. When the void mark is used, it will be his death." Everyone looked back, only to see a burly middle-aged man holding a trident with 2 short horns on his head, slowly walking over. Everybody frowned and stepped back. This was Gu Meng, the commander of the ancient demon race. He was a domineering and unlikable man. Giggle. Then, a spider silk descended from the sky, and a beautiful woman who was half human and half spider descended. Human beings. Their biggest problem is that they are unwilling to give up. Isn't it good to turtle up? They have tried to rise again and again. This time, it's best to wipe them out in one fell swoop. It's best if I can see Han Fei. His flesh and blood should be delicious. Gu Meng glanced at the woman. "You done, the insectoids have suffered 3 defeats. I hope you won't disappoint me this time." The beautiful spider woman said disdainfully, "You simple-minded idiot. The human race is not made up of 180 billion insects. How can our insect race fail? Use your brain." "Alright, the human race hasn't been wiped out yet. Let's not have internal strife." Gu Meng was about to glare at Yu Dunv, when an ice flower bloomed and a girl walked out. She looked pretty and even a little cute, but her eyes were filled with coldness. Yu Dunv chuckled. "Would Demon Shanshan keep pretending to be innocent? You're already so old, yet you're still dressed like this." Would Demon Shanshan glanced at Yu Dunv coldly and then turned her eyes to the battlefield. Han Fei must appear in this battle. Buzz. Just as Would Demon Shanshan said so, bang, bang. Suddenly, the 8 blazing stars stopped rolling at the same time. A proud figure was standing on one of the stars with his hands behind his back. On each star, there was an identical proud figure. As the figures waved their hands in unison, the 8 perfected star transformation realm cultivators who were pushing the blazing stars exploded. Without even having a chance to react. A human monarch took action? Ha ha ha. This is the moment we've been waiting for. The monarchs of the human race had never shown up, so they had no chance to come out. If they attacked the human race's monarchs first, the one protecting the human race would take action. However, if the monarchs of the human race took the initiative to take action, it would be a different story. If they attacked, it meant that they had participated in the battle. Therefore, on the side of the Central Sea Divine Realm, some people immediately became excited. All of a sudden, 12 figures rushed out. They had been in the East Sea Divine Realm for 400 years, but they had never had a chance to fight. Now, a monarch of the human race finally took action. Their first reaction was that the human race sacrificed a monarch to stop this test. However, not everyone was so excited. For example, Wood Demon Shan Shan shouted, "Come back." However, these people were all from the major forces in the Central Sea Divine Realm. Although Wood Demon Shan Shan was a strong master from the Divine Demon Forest, she was not qualified to command them. Therefore, she only stopped 3 people. The 3 people hesitated for a moment and reacted a little slowly. The other 9 people had already rushed over. Ha ha ha. Human monarch, come and fight me for 30 rounds. Everyone, don't kill him. Capture this person, cut off his head and hang it high in the sky to intimidate the human race. Boom. Suddenly, lightning exploded out of thin air, and cracks appeared. Puff. 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 In the sky, lightning exploded like fireworks, forming an angular lightning mark where the powerhouses from the Central Sea Divine Realm were. So fast. Not good. In the blink of an eye, the 9 monarchs, including 3 carefree level cultivators, were all killed. All 9 of them were captured and killed in a second. The remaining phantoms of the soul-suppressing godly weapons in the sky indicated that the soul-suppressing godly weapons had appeared at the moment of their death, but they were instantly destroyed. Rumble. Rumble. In the sky, there were 9 great Tao cracks in a row. Seeing this, countless strong masters from the Central Sea Divine Realm were shocked. How is it possible? He's so strong. No, he's clearly at the carefree level. He is only at the carefree level. How can a carefree level cultivator be so fast? No, this person is Han Fei. He is Han Fei. Not just the people from the Central Sea Divine Realm were dumbfounded. On the human side, the god of war, Lu Qianxi, the elders of the lava giant tribe, and even Chu Hao were dumbfounded. Lu Qianxi shouted in shock, "Master is so strong. What did I see? Is this the power of the immortal level? Wow, he killed 9 monarchs so easily. How can he be so strong?" The corners of the god of war's mouth trembled. Now I really can't understand this kid at all. Chu Hao looked at the lightning mark in the void and seemed to think of something. Is this the inheritance of the ancient god of thunder note? Luo Xiaobai smiled slightly as if she was relieved. Sure enough, only when he was around could the human race be stronger. Han Fei was very strong and few people in his realm were his match. If he took action, the people besieging him would have to consider whether they would be the first to die. If it were someone else, such as Lu Qianxi, he might have been caught and killed in a single clash with the enemy. This was why Luo Xiaobai had never allowed the monarchs to fight. Han Fei waved his hand, grabbed the 9 corpses, and threw them into his origin star. Before the human race and the army of the Central Sea Divine Realm knew what had happened, they saw the sky full of great Dao cracks. Then, Han Fei stood proudly in the sky and his voice rumbled throughout the world, "I am Human Emperor Han Fei. I have returned." When he said that "I have returned," it caused a great uproar. The hundreds of billions of humans felt their hearts tremble. Someone cried with joy and his voice was trembling. "The Human Emperor has returned. Master Human Emperor has finally returned. The human race is saved. Master Human Emperor, I knew that you wouldn't abandon me. Ha ha ha. Master Human Emperor has returned. You shall all die. Master Human Emperor is invincible. Even if there are so many monarchs, so what? Our human race is going to win. Master Human Emperor has returned. We're going to win. Brothers, let's kill." The undead human beings couldn't hide their excitement either. "We've finally waited for the return of Master Human Emperor. Finally. I have no regrets in death. Master Human Emperor will wipe out all enemies." Yes, the human race's worship of Han Fei had reached a fanatical state. This was because they knew that Han Fei had never lost. Any enemy of Han Fei would be destroyed. Although the strong masters of the Central Sea Divine Realm were gathered here, they trusted their emperor more. The news of Han Fei's return seemed to have ignited the hearts of all human beings. They felt their blood boil and their combat power soar. The 2 elders of the lava giant race couldn't help but look at each other. This is what we call charism. On the side of the Central Sea Divine Realm, some of the monarchs looked scared, but there were also many who felt refreshed. After more than 400 years, he's finally back. Alright, the doomsday of the human race has arrived. Since you're back, don't even think about leaving again. Finally, this battle is about to end. Gu Meng, the 8-bone war monarch of the ancient demon race, suddenly laughed ferociously. "It's great that you're back. I've been waiting for you. For so long." Han Fei sneered and stretched out his hand. The 8 blazing stars floated into the air and suddenly smashed at the floating giant ship. "I said that anyone who offends our human race will be killed without mercy. Since you're here today, you can forget about leaving." The void shattered and 8 stars appeared in a row outside the huge ship. 49 peak-level carefree level cultivators and 127 peak-level Dao provers all came out. However, different from the previous battle, they knew that Han Fei was extraordinary, so this time, the peak-level carefree level cultivators took the lead. Firstly, these peak-level carefree level cultivators had lived for countless years in the Central Sea Divine Realm and were not the younger generation. Their strength was not comparable to ordinary peak-level carefree level cultivators. Even those at the peak of the Dao proving level were all old monsters. There was not much difference between the Dao proving level and the carefree level. Almost all of these old monsters could fight carefree level cultivators. Therefore, these people were not afraid of Han Fei's strength. In their opinion, no matter how strong Han Fei was, he was still a member of the younger generation. In terms of cultivation, experience, and comprehension, he was inferior to them. The people who had died just now were nothing but fools in their eyes. If these people were still no match for Han Fei, it meant that Han Fei had the immortal level combat power, so it was only natural for immortal level cultivators to take action. Of course, they didn't expect to kill Han Fei with immortal level combat. power, but they were confident that they could definitely force Han Fei to use the void mark. Therefore, with Han Fei's appearance, the battle between monarchs immediately began. The 49 peak-level carefree-level cultivators attacked together. The laws surged and instantly pressed down, and the 8 stars exploded. Boom boom boom. The terrifying power of the starburst shattered the void, the fire rolled out for tens of thousands of kilometers, and the energy poured into the endless void crazily. Even so, the power swept nearly tens of millions of kilometers away. This power could be felt even on the human battlefield. The god of war, Lu Qianxi, and the 2 elders of the lava giant tribe could only protect the battlefield. Han Fei's current battle had exceeded their strength. Although they were also monarchs, they knew that they couldn't even resist the 8 stars, let alone participate in this group battle. Luo Xiaobai's voice spread across the human battlefield. My fellow humans, the human emperor has returned. Let's cherish our lives and turn to defense. Waiting for the human emperor to kill the enemy. Someone laughed. Brothers, did you hear that? Cherish our lives. The human emperor has returned. We're about to win. We have to keep our lives to witness the golden age of the human race. Did you hear that, everyone? If you can't beat them, shrink the front line. Don't risk your lives. Repeat, don't risk your lives. Brothers, this battle is the battle of the human emperor. If the human emperor wins, the human race wins. Guard well. Don't be accidentally killed. Tens of millions of kilometers away, in the flames that filled the sky, Han Fei stepped into the void like a dominator of flames. With a boom, thousands of lightning bolts filled the sky. On the side of the Central Sea Divine Realm, many people who surrounded Han Fei were instantly shocked. Bang! When everyone was in shock, one person had already been pierced. Both he and his soul-suppressing godly weapon were shattered in an instant. His soul was shattered, and his remnant body scattered on the sea. No, this is Lei Hang's technique. Not good. It's the Thousand Thunder Flash, the unique killing technique of the ancient god of thunder. Note. How is it possible? He actually broke into the Thunder Note ancient temple? They finally realized that something was wrong. Han Fei had exceeded their imagination. Boom. Thousand Thunder Flash was activated again, and a lightning ring appeared. Within the range of the lightning ring, 3 people had nowhere to hide. In an instant, lightning jumped between the 3 of them and burned them. It's that thunder technique, Lei Hang's 12 Thunder Seal technique, the legendary 12 Thunder Seal technique. At this moment, these old monsters panicked. They all knew where the thunder sound ancient temple was. Countless forces had once flocked to it. However, no matter how many people entered it, no one came out alive. Even great monarchs couldn't come out. Later, they gave up the Thunder Note ancient temple, believing that it was not a place for humans to enter, because it was a dead end. But today, other than Lei Hang, someone else had used the Supreme Thunder technique again. How could they not be shocked? Bang! Pft! Boom! In the sky, great Tao cracks appeared one after another. In the blink of an eye, there were already 13 great Tao cracks, indicating the death of 13 monarchs. It was not that they didn't want to block it, but they couldn't stop it at all. The Thousand Thunder Flash was too fast. Han Fei's speed was nearly 1,000 times the speed of light. It was not a speed that the carefree level could achieve at all. To match the speed, only an immortal could. According to this combat power, this was no longer a battle of the same level. No matter how many Tao provers and carefree level cultivators came under this horrible speed and terrifying combat power, they would still die. The people from the Central Sea divine realm reacted very quickly. Immediately, several figures broke out of the void. It was an old man with white hair. When Han Fei used the Thousand Thunder Flash, this person turned into a beam of light, and his speed exceeded 1,000 times the speed of light. He could barely chase Han Fei. It was not that he couldn't catch up with Han Fei's speed, but that if Han Fei used the Thousand Thunder Flash, he could appear anywhere in the lightning mark, so this old man would inevitably be slower than Han Fei. As long as Han Fei didn't fight him, he would never be able to catch Han Fei. However, Han Fei discovered that although he would be one step ahead, as long as this person closely followed him, he wouldn't have a chance to kill these monarchs at the Tao proving or carefree levels. Han Fei, you brat, do you think you can win? So what if you have the inheritance of the ancient god of thunder note? In the end, you are only at the carefree level. This person tried to use words to force Han Fei to appear and fight him. Around them, many monarchs retreated. Fortunately, an immortal level cultivator took action. Otherwise, it would be really terrifying. Everyone scattered, and someone sighed. Fortunately, he's an immortal level powerhouse from the Light City. He's not afraid of lightning. Someone sneered. No matter how strong Han Fei is, so what? There is always someone stronger than him. In any case, Han Fei can't escape death today. However, as soon as he said so, he suddenly sensed a life and death crisis. He didn't even have a chance to activate his star bead. With a flash between his eyebrows, a mirror-type soul-suppressing godly weapon appeared. However, at that moment, he saw a huge hammer. On the hammer, lightning flashed and law surged. Crack! The soul-suppressing godly weapon mirror shattered. The man was stunned. This was an acquired spiritual treasure. Why was it broken? But in a moment, a scorpion tail appeared between his eyebrows, and it seemed that his companion spirit was about to rush out. Boom! Ka ka ka. The scorpion tail was instantly crushed into powder. The man felt that his head was hit with a clang, and then he lost consciousness. Han Fei had never been an easy person to deal with. He was already prepared to fight this immortal level cultivator, but before this battle, he had to collect some interest and use his strength to shut these people up. How arrogant! The old man from the Light City followed him closely. The moment Han Fei was about to attack, he had already activated his original Great Tao, boosted his combat power by 4 times, and swung his hammer at the sky. The power of this blow clearly exceeded the expectations of the strong master from the Light City. Rumble. There was a loud bang between the heavens and earth, and dust raged in the sky. One of the immortal level cultivator's arms shattered into pieces. The law of light, like a mirror, also shattered. Boom! A bolt of lightning suddenly struck the immortal level cultivator, striking his soul and interrogating him. Han Fei was surrounded by a lightning waterfall. Before the immortal level cultivator woke up, the lightning fused into one and struck down. The soul-slaying lightning followed closely. Half of the immortal level's body was blown up by Han Fei, and his soul suppressing godly weapons floated out. However, the lightning law couldn't shake this thing. A chaotic spiritual treasure? Han Fei made up his mind. Steel. He was already at the peak of the carefree level, and the other party was just at the immortal level. Why couldn't he steal it? Then, the jade pot-like chaotic spiritual treasure was snatched by Han Fei. Boom. 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 The ultimate hammer was activated. However, an immortal level cultivator was still an immortal level cultivator after all, and their physique and strength were extremely powerful. Although Han Fei created a 3-second window of opportunity, he failed to kill this old man and only crushed nearly half of his body. On the side of the Central Sea Divine Realm, many people looked at each other in bewilderment. How could an immortal level cultivator be suppressed so easily? Gu Meng, Han Fei, let me fight you. However, someone was even faster than Gu Meng. It was another immortal level cultivator. He didn't attack until he saw that the person from the Light City was obviously no match for Han Fei. However, Han Fei suddenly turned his head, and with a swish, the Emperor Sparrow flew into the sky. Hellfire burning. The newcomer was using a great technique, but he didn't expect this scene and immediately fell into the void. As for the immortal level cultivator from the Light City, he had already woken up after weathering through the lightning attack. He was pale with fright and intended to escape first. Do you think you can escape? Lightning reduction. This space turned into a lightning domain, and this person's speed suddenly weakened by nearly half. Bam! 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 The ultimate hammer erupted. The Ragnarok, the Tao of Slaughter God, the invincible path, and all kinds of techniques were fused. Every strike could shatter a large amount of the soul power of the old man from the Light City. His body cracked countless times. Gu Meng finally took action and roared, Han Fei, die. Hee hee. Han Fei laughed dryly and the infinity water appeared in his hand. The law pattern spread on the infinity water and it pierced through the immortal level cultivator from the Light City. Facing Gu Meng, Han Fei jumped up and held the Thunder God's hammer in both hands. I have a tribulation to kill immortals. Between the heavens and the earth, the weather changed, and the law surged on. The Thunder God's hammer. Behind Han Fei, the endless void opened, and a terrifying thundercloud suddenly appeared. Is this a heavenly tribulation? Gu Meng's face changed drastically, and he was puzzled. How could a carefree level cultivator trigger the power of the heavenly tribulation? Was the heavenly tribulation a power that humans could control? At that moment, although there were still immortal level powerhouses appearing at the periphery, no one went forward. Come on, should they go up and resist the heavenly tribulation? Gu Meng roared, impossible. I don't believe you can activate the heavenly tribulation. I'd like to see how strong this lightning is. Roar. Gu Meng's body turned into a demonic ape 300 meters tall as he flew. Knock, knock, knock. The demonic ape stepped in the air, and with every step it took, nomological array patterns appeared under its feet. It held the trident in its hand, accumulated strength, and roared, primordial demon spear. Law array patterns condensed on the tip of his spear, circle after circle, accumulating a total of 8 law array patterns. Boom. Bang. 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 Ka ka ka. The purple-black heavenly tribulation fell with a bang, but regardless of whether it was a divine technique or something else, the 8 array patterns shattered one after another and could only block the heavenly tribulation for half a second. Ah! The power of the primordial demon spear was instantly destroyed by the Heavenly tribulation, and even the acquired spiritual treasure trident was shattered. The demon ape's entire body was enveloped by the heavenly tribulation, and its flesh and blood were dissipating at a visible speed. In less than 3 seconds, the flesh and blood of the demon ape turned into nothingness. He hurriedly took out 3 door-shaped shields in an attempt to block it. At the same time, an acquired spiritual treasure-level battle suit appeared on the surface of his body. In addition, Gu Meng took out 6 array talismans in a row and turned them into a law array, protecting him. Crack! 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 Bam! Bang! Bang! The heavenly tribulation lasted for 8 seconds, and Gu Meng was horrified. The 3 sets of acquired spiritual treasure-level magic weapons were actually all destroyed, and he was badly mutilated. This was really AF * King Heavenly Tribulation. And an extremely terrifying kind of heavenly tribulation. On the side of the Central Sea Divine Realm, everyone exclaimed in horror. How is it possible? Can this guy really summon a heavenly tribulation? If it weren't for the fact that he had so many treasures, wouldn't the 8 Bone War Monarch have been blown to death on the spot? Even Lei Heng can't do that, can he? Would Demon Shanshan said, the power of this tribulation can kill anyone below the immortal level. Even immortals can't escape death without the protection of treasures. Yu Dun narrowed her eyes. This human emperor is indeed terrifying. As a carefree level cultivator, he fought 3 immortals alone and crushed them. If we let such a person grow, he will definitely become a huge problem for us. Han Fei frowned slightly. The heavenly tribulation was very strong, but he still underestimated the immortal level powerhouses. They were not destruction-level ominous creatures, but strong masters from the Central Sea Divine Realm who had all kinds of means and magic weapons. His heavenly tribulation had only destroyed 3 acquired spiritual treasures and seriously injured the other party. Humph, you've got a lot of treasures, right? Let's see how many treasures you can take out today. Buzz. Electric arcs flashed on the surface of Han Fei's body, and lightning and fire burned in his eyes. The Mad Thunder Dao body was activated, and lightning patterns appeared. Behind him, a lightning technique divine plate condensed. In the next moment, the lightning technique divine plate spun, and the power of the heavenly Dao gathered. Take this. Supreme divine lightning. Like a king walking out of lightning, Han Fei looked extremely ferocious at the moment, like an unparalleled killing god. The demonic ape that Gu Meng turned into roared, and his dissipated flesh and blood gathered. His deep voice resounded throughout the world, I am the 8 Bone War Monarch. Han Fei, you brat, you've pissed me off. Roar. The demon ape's body expanded again, turning thousands of meters tall and extending 8 arms at the same time. I dare you to grow another 4 heads. Han Fei stepped on the air, and with a swoosh, there were only lightning marks left in the sky. Boom. This time, it was a competition of strength. However, in terms of strength, Han Fei believed that even if he was not yet an immortal, ordinary immortals couldn't compare to him. Rumble. Bolts of lightning struck the demon ape one after another, and every hammer strike dented its flesh and even broke its bones. However, the overwhelming fist auras couldn't touch Han Fei's shadow at all. They could only shake the void and force Han Fei to appear by disrupting the space. This method was actually quite effective. If the void shattered and spatial turbulence surged, the effect of the Thousand Thunder Flash would be greatly reduced. However, even if it was a head-on clash, how could Han Fei be afraid? When Han Fei appeared, the demon ape threw out 8 punches at the same time, filling the sky with fist seize. Han Fei held the hammer in one hand and concentrated all his strength on one point. Ultimate hammer. Boom. Rumble. Ka ka ka. Waves rolled to the sky, the seawater collapsed, and smoke and dust filled the air. 2 figures were sent flying millions of kilometers away at the same time. Gu Meng, who had transformed into a demon ape, had returned to his original body, but his arms had disappeared, and his body was twisted like mud. It seemed that every bone was crushed. More than half of his soul had been destroyed, and he had suffered an indescribable heavy injury. As for Han Fei, he was also sent flying millions of kilometers away, but he ran back with thousand thunder flash in midair. Holding the thunder god's hammer, Han Fei twisted his neck and flexed his wrist. The 8-bone war monarch is so weak. If it weren't for your treasures, you would have turned into dust. With that, Han Fei pointed at the air with 2 fingers. Sword 4, carefree. Roaming. Swish. The intimidating sword light pierced through the sky and the earth, vowing to kill this so-called 8-bone war monarch. At the moment Han Fei attacked, a giant spider phantom appeared out of thin air and blocked the attack. Bang! The spider exploded and turned into smoke. Carefree Roaming was still flying forward, but its power was reduced by 50%. Then, a giant wood appeared in the air and crashed into Carefree Roaming. Crack, crack. The giant wood was cut apart, but Carefree Roaming was also exhausted. Han Fei turned to look at the 2 people who attacked. One was a spider girl, and the other was a girl with roots spreading out from her feet. You 2 ruined my business. Are you looking for death? Wood Demon Shanshan said, Han Fei, we admit that you are very strong, but if only you are strong, how can you protect the entire human race? Today, you can't kill anyone. You done, honey, you're just too anxious. If you had lain dormant for a few years and returned after entering the immortal level, you might have been able to save the human race. TSK, TSK, but now, you're still at the carefree level. As they talked, 3 more immortal level powerhouses appeared on Gu Meng's side. Beside the immortal level cultivator that was being burnt by hellfire, 2 immortal level powerhouses appeared too to protect him. 2 people appeared next to the immortal level cultivator from the Light City. 2. However, the moment they appeared, Han Fei grinned. It's up to me whether to kill them or not. Whoever I want to kill must die. Explode. Rumble. The one from the Light City was pierced and sealed by the Infinity Water. As for the Infinity Water, it was now a super powerful weapon at the level of chaotic spiritual treasure. It could certainly kill an immortal level cultivator. The 2 immortals who had just appeared hurriedly retreated. The terrifying self-detonation shattered the immortal level cultivator from the Light City. His body and soul both crushed. With the death of an immortal, the great Tao crack was extremely terrifying. All the human powerhouses were overjoyed. Someone laughed. Master Human Emperor has started to slay monarchs again. That feels so good. Let's see how many monarchs the other party has. Is it enough for Master Human Emperor to kill? Haha, I knew it. As long as Master Human Emperor returns, all enemies will die. On Han Fei's side, he said casually. Emperor Sparrow, send that guy off. Demon releasing Frenzying eye. The immortal level cultivator who was being burned by the hellfire suddenly unleashed monstrous killing intent and suddenly attacked his two guardians. Because of his sneak attack, the hellfire burned another person. Hellfire couldn't be extinguished. Once it was ignited, you just had to wait for it to burn out. Therefore, there were now two people being burnt by hellfire. The demon in the man's heart was released, and charmed by the frenzying eye, he charged crazily at wood demon Shanshan, who was closest to him. After all, he was an immortal level cultivator. His attacks were ruthless and domineering, and in the blink of an eye, 3 carefree level cultivators had been crushed by him. Instantly, on the side of the Central Sea Divine Realm, everyone's expression changed drastically. The power of the Emperor Sparrow exceeded their imagination. Without even looking at them, he directly activated cause and effect killing techniques. No wonder every time this creature appeared, someone tried their best to besiege and kill him. They had to kill him. When this thing grew up, who could withstand him? Swish. Just as Han Fei was watching them how to solve this problem with a smile, he suddenly saw 2 black chains extending out of the giant ship. Rule chains? Han Fei's pupils were constricted slightly. In the next moment, the 2 immortals were bound by the chains. No matter how they twisted or went crazy, they couldn't break free. Han Fei couldn't help but look at the giant ship. Be ****, come out if you want to fight. Let's see if I can kill you. Villain. A silver-haired young man slowly stepped out of the giant ship, followed by 6 people, all of whom were at the immortal level. At this moment, the Tao-proving level and carefree level cultivators all fell silent. They had thought that this was their battle, but who knew that Han Fei was like a different person from 400 years ago? His strength had increased so quickly that it was no longer someone they could deal with. Now, they could only let the immortal level cultivators take action. The silver-haired young man slowly walked over with a cold smile. I'm out. Come and kill me. Han Fei picked up the Thunder God's hammer and spat. Get your ass over here and have a one-on-one fight with me. The silver-haired young man chuckled. Idiot, this is a war, not a competition. There is no absolute fairness. Do you think you can save the human race? No, you are just a reckless man with brute force, but no brain. You can't save anyone. Slap. The silver-haired young man snapped his fingers, and someone immediately shouted, all troops, attack and kill the human race. The 10 billion strong army of the Central Sea Divine Realm was deployed, and the tide of sea demons came again and again. The human race was under a lot of pressure soon. Han Fei narrowed his eyes. You're asking to be killed. The silver-haired young man said lazily, there are hundreds of billions of people in the human race. Do you really think you can contend with the Central Sea Divine Realm? It's because of you that the human race wasn't really wiped out before. Now that you're back, it's time for the human race to be wiped out. Han Fei raised his head. So, are you sure you can beat me? The silver-haired young man smiled casually. So far, so it seems. Han Fei asked, who are you? How dare you flash your tongue like this? You're just a nobody from the Central Sea Divine Realm. How dare you try to destroy our human race? Believe it or not, I'll destroy you along with the forces behind you. Ha ha ha. The silver-haired young man laughed arrogantly as if he had heard something funny. When the laughter stopped, the silver-haired young man sighed and said, "A disciple of the Void Temple can be so ignorant. I am Bai, the pure blooded descendant of the primordial silver wolf of the ancient demon race." Destroy the ancient demon race? Do you really think the Void Temple is invincible in the world? However, after hearing what Bai said, Han Fei touched his chin with one hand. Now, he had already known who had been preventing the rise of the human race. Ancient demons, insects, and demon plants were exactly among the 6 ancient bloodlines. The 6 ancient bloodlines were respectively, the primordial human race, primordial demonic plants, primordial strange beasts, primordial demons, primordial insect eggs, and a stillborn. As for those who attacked the human race, if he guessed right, they were from the ancient demon plant race, the ancient insect race, and the ancient demon race. Han Fei didn't know why the 3 bloodlines attacked the human race. The bloodlines passed down from ancient times had long been divided into many branches. They shouldn't have such hatred for the human race and insisted on destroying it. What was the reason? Besides, Han Fei had learned from the primordial star tree that the ancient demon plants and the primordial human race were actually on good terms. And 6th senior brother was obviously from the insect race and didn't show any hostility to the human race, or he would have told him. Therefore, there must be a deeper reason for these 3 races to attack the human race. However, there was at least one thing he was sure of. The enemy had already been revealed. They were the ancient demon plants, the ancient insects, and the ancient demons from the Central Sea Divine Realm. As for the other lineages, Han Fei didn't think they were all enemies of the human race. Han Fei grinned and waved his hand. A law of lightning crossed millions of kilometers in the void and landed on the surging insect tide. The lightning law covered hundreds of thousands of kilometers and suddenly ignited an indestructible thunder fire. Instantly, the sea of insects was almost instantly incinerated. Han Fei said, "I'm from the Void Temple, but I'm also a human. I'm the variable in this battle. Only by taking me down can you be qualified to touch the human race. The point is, can you take me down?" As he spoke, Han Fei turned into 1,000 lightning strikes, intending to fight the battle in person. However, the moment Han Fei moved, array flags appeared in all directions. With a bang, Han Fei hit a barrier. Bai smiled gloomily. The inheritance of the ancient god of thunder note is indeed powerful. However, as a disciple of the Void Temple, you should know that there is no absolutely invincible technique in this world. Even Lei Heng fled around like a stray dog when he was in the Central Sea Divine Realm. How can you, a mere peak-level carefree level cultivator, beat us? Bai walked forward step by step. The Emperor Sparrow is not invincible either. That cause and effect killing technique can only target one person at a time, right? As long as those 2 people are not dead, the Emperor Sparrow can't attack a second person. And what's the difference between a Dao proving level Emperor Sparrow and trash? On Han Fei's shoulder, the Emperor Sparrow said, "Ancient demons, right? I'll personally visit you later. Offending me, you'll see your entire race wiped out. Just wait and see." Bai said, "That's if you can survive until then." Heh. Inner demon summoning. The Emperor Sparrow raised his head proudly with a dark gleam in his eyes. Then, Bai's face suddenly changed drastically, and layers of demonic chi escaped from his body. Bai grunted and a pagoda appeared above his head. The pagoda was enveloped by mystic light and forcibly suppressed the demonic qi. Bai Yi grinned. It's a pity that you're only at the Tao proving level. If you had become an immortal, I really wouldn't have been able to resist you. The Emperor Sparrow said coldly, without this pagoda, you can't resist me. Now. Han Fei put on a deep smile and reached out. Steal. The next moment, the pagoda disappeared, but then Han Fei frowned. Although the pagoda disappeared, it didn't appear on his side. Immediately afterward, the white pagoda appeared between Han Fei and Bai Yi. Trembling and spinning. It seemed to be quite intelligent and could resist the void stealing technique. This was the first time Han Fei had encountered such a situation. Without the help of the pagoda, Bai Yi was surrounded by black gas and seemed to be about to go crazy. At this moment, the pagoda struggled hard, broke from the void-stealing technique, and returned to Bai Yi's head, once again, suppressing Bai Yi's inner demon. Huh? Interesting. Han Fei looked at the pagoda. It looked like a good treasure. It was at least a chaotic spiritual treasure. If exaggerated a bit, it might be comparable to the Thunder God's hammer, belonging to the level of nature spiritual treasure. Kill him. Bai Yi flew into a rage out of humiliation. After Bai Yi finished speaking, behind him, the 6 immortals attacked Han Fei. At the same time, the Emperor Sparrow returned, and Han Fei activated the Thousand Thunder Flash and turned the sealed place into a sea of lightning and fire. However, the 6 immortals activated their laws at the same time, stirring the void and shattering it. Chaotic secrets. Void shattering. Law storm. Blood god art. Sky penetrating spell. Infinite war. The 6 immortals occupied 6 different directions, one messed up the law of heavenly secrets, one shattered the void, causing the void to be unstable, and it was difficult to use the Thousand Thunder Flash. Another set off a law storm, making it difficult to absorb the power of the law. Just these 3 had almost broken the Thousand Thunder Flash. As for the blood god technique, it could affect the circulation of his blood. Han Fei immediately activated the invincible path and resisted with the Tao of Slaughter God. The sky-penetrating spell, on the other hand, filled the sky with runes that were revolving around Han Fei and restricting his strength, just like the god. Sealing Spear. The last person broke out with a speed much faster than Han Fei's and actually engaged in close combat with Han Fei. However, this person moved like a phantom and was more like a hunter, which was different from Han Fei's fighting style. However, with the strength of a mortal level, Han Fei could only be on par with him for now. I underestimated the immortal level cultivators. Han Fei's face changed slightly. Immortal level cultivators invoked the law. Too fast and powerful. Ordinary carefree level cultivators couldn't compare to them. Furthermore, they had more means. Almost all of them had mastered divine techniques and their magic weapons were stronger. They weren't comparable to destruction-level ominous creatures. The 6 of them had completely suppressed him. After these 6 people finished suppressing Han Fei, they joined forces to attack Han Fei. At this moment, the Thousand Thunder Flash couldn't be used, but the 10,000 Law Sky Traveling Technique could still be used. In this void, the 7 people flashed non-stop, bursting out with an extremely terrifying speed. Although Han Fei had slowed them down with the deceleration technique of the 12 Thunder Seal technique, the lightning law was penetrated in less than 10 seconds. Bang! 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 The situation in the field changed quickly. Because Han Fei couldn't keep up with them in speed, they were bombarded by the 6 people consecutively. Fuse. After Little Black and Little White fused with him, Han Fei found that his reaction speed still couldn't keep up with their attacks. After fighting for more than 50 seconds, Han Fei was at a disadvantage and was seriously injured. On the human side, the Beast King said anxiously, "This won't do. These guys have already used the power of the immortal level. Although Han Fei is very strong, he's only at the carefree level after all. How can he be a match for so many immortals?" Lu Qianxi said, "Master, be careful. Come back if you can't beat them." The Beast King glanced at Lu Qianxi speechlessly. "Do you think he can still come back in this situation?" On the Central Sea Divine Realms side, many people were relieved. Someone said, "Fortunately, he's only at the carefree level. This time, we can't let him go, no matter what." Someone echoed, "That's right. We can't let him live. He can kill immortals when he's at the carefree level and has mastered the ancient supreme thunder technique. And he's too good at escaping. If we don't kill him this time, there will be endless trouble in the future." However, some people were still sober. "I'm afraid we can't kill him today. But if we can force him to use the void mark, Han Fei and the entire human race will be destroyed soon." Now that Han Fei was besieged, Bai Yi said leisurely, "Han Fei, mankind has its limits. Do you still want to keep your trump card? Let's see if the survival of the human race can be exchanged for your trump card, ha ha ha." Ancient demon, step on the sea. Bai Yi put his hands together, and an unfathomable hole appeared behind him. From this hole, Han Fei saw billions of demons rushing out. When Han Fei saw the demons charging at him, he discovered that these creatures were different from ferocious beasts. They were like upgraded versions of sea demons. There was demonic chi in the ancient demons, similar to the special demonic chi of sea demons and inferior manfish. However, there were a variety of ancient demons. He saw inferior manfish, meandering human-faced centipedes, deformed sea monsters, demonic wolves burning with fire, and pythons transforming into water. Perhaps, ferocious beasts and divine beasts were the offspring of the ancient demons. Or perhaps, ferocious beasts and divine beasts were powerful entities born from the heavens and earth in the chaotic era. And ancient demons, like humans, evolved. Han Fei wasn't sure about this, but he would find out when the Void Temple held a meeting. On the human side, although they had switched from offense to defense, the Insect Sea, the Sea Demon Tide, the Ancient Demon Army, and the allied forces of the Central Sea Divine Realm were still too much for the human race. Immediately, Han Fei made up his mind and took the initiative to release the Great Tao of Life Replacement, ignoring all attacks. Then, between his eyebrows, 1, 2. A total of 7 small vines reached out. "If you want to see my trump card, I'll let you see as much as you want. Heh. You'll find that intercepting and killing our human race is the most regretful thing you've ever done in your life." Swish. 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 The 6 immortal level powerhouses were suddenly wrapped by a small vine. The moment they were wrapped up, all their law powers lost effect. Their vitality, spiritual energy, chaotic chi, and immortal chi were being drained away crazily. Han Fei roared, "Since you are demons, you are only worthy of being the ingredients in my pot." This was the first time Han Fei used the demon purification pot outside his body. None of the 6 immortals were spared. They felt that their strength no longer belonged to them. What is this? Not good, my vitality, my great Tao. Fellow Taoists, save me. Ah! This thing is eating my great Tao. This sudden scene horrified the people of the Central Sea Divine Realm. Han Fei was obviously no match for them and was about to be suppressed, but because of this small vine, he instantly suppressed the 6 immortal level powerhouses. What was this? How could this thing be so powerful? Bai Ye's face also changed greatly. What was going on? How could Han Fei be so capable? Suddenly, among the immortal level cultivators, someone's face changed. It was Yi Xianming from the heavenly race. He exclaimed, "It's the demon purification pot. That's the strongest treasure of the ancient times, the demon purification pot. It's you, Han Fei. You destroyed our heavenly ancestor divine tree and severed our door talents. Demon purification pot?" A stone raised 1,000 waves, and the entire Central Sea Divine Realms camp was in an uproar. What? The ultimate treasure of gods, the demon purification pot? Is it the demon purification pot that can suppress the ominous and cause the gods to scramble for it? How did Han Fei get such an ultimate treasure? Is this his trump card? In the giant ship, a middle-aged man narrowed his eyes and trembled slightly. So, the demon purification pot is here. Han Fei, have you run out of tricks? At the same time, in the God-fiend sea, the demon god, and a large group of ferocious big shots were also sighing. Eastern divine crocodile, Han Fei, you really dare to take it out. The big crab Xia Wuquan said, I'm afraid this kid has gone crazy, but I like it. Ha ha ha, I really want to fight. The fight outside is so exciting. Jiang Honghua licked the corner of her mouth. This kid is not afraid of us. Coveting it and just took it out? TSK, tisk. The sky ghost toad said, I'm not interested in the demon purification pot. Anyway. This thing, you can take it, but you can't keep it. Li Tiangong said, something must be wrong. I'm afraid this demon purification pot is not only for the people of the Central Sea Divine Realm to see, but also for us to see. I wonder what other trump cards Han Fei has. The demon god said leisurely, don't pay too much attention to the demon purification pot. Only those with great luck can keep this pot. Since ancient times, no one who obtains this pot has a good ending. Besides, this pot has never beat the ominous. Whoever wants this pot probably wants to rise up for personal reasons and wants to use it to become a god. Let's see. Old Yuan asked, Demon God, when shall we attack? The demon god said, that's your business. I've already paid off the favor I owe Han Fei. In the depths of the void. Great Monarch East Marshal looked at this scene and frowned slightly, as if he was thinking about something. The sea realm is going to be in chaos. On the human side, Luo Xiaobai, the Beast King, and Lu Qianxi were all dumbfounded. What was the demon purification pot? The elder of the lava giant tribe said leisurely, it said that in ancient times, there was a calabash born in the world. With it, one can suppress the heavens and rule all races. Therefore, whenever this pot appears, there will be a storm of blood. For this pot, all the strong masters fought each other and resorted to all means. In the end, it fell into the hands of the ancient human race and was passed down to gods. But there are also rumors that whoever obtains this pot won't have a good ending. Lu Qianxi exclaimed, What do you mean? Judging from Master's rising speed, this thing obviously brings him good luck. The Beast King said, it's better than nothing. Look how nervous those the asterisk stars from the Central Sea Divine Realm are. Looking at this scene, Luo Xiaobai murmured in a voice that only she could hear, so this is the secret you have been hiding at the bottom of your heart since you were young. The appearance of the demon purification pot was really beyond everyone's expectation. 100,000 years ago, the demon purification pot disappeared with Chu Hao. 100,000 years later, the demon purification pot reappeared. However, today was different from that time. 100,000 years ago, Chu Hao was alone and couldn't represent anyone. Although there was the primordial divine race behind him, there were no gods. However, behind Han Fei was the Void Temple. But even so, could it really stop those coveting the demon purification pot? Bai Ye's pupils were constricted, and there was uncontrollable excitement on his face. He had never thought that he would have such an opportunity on this trip to the East Sea Divine Realm. As for Wood Demon Shanshan and Yu Dunv, their eyes were also shining, but they restrained themselves. At this moment, rashly snatching it was no different from courting death. However, since the demon purification pot had appeared, there would only be more people attacking Han Fei. At that time, they might have a chance in the bloody storm. The moment the demon purification pot appeared, countless people from the Central Sea Divine Realm were sending messages to their races. Yes, they all did it openly. Everyone was racing against time. The appearance of the demon purification pot was such a great opportunity. Who would be willing to fall behind others? Buzz. On the side of the Central Sea Divine Realm, a forbidden place that had been sealed for 10,000 years suddenly opened, and a primordial demon let out a low laugh. It finally appeared. Human race, Void Temple. In a certain vast demonic forest, a peerless demonic flower bloomed and turned into a coquettish woman. She held a green leaf in her hand and smiled. Demon purification pot. Deep underground, a huge centipede woke up from its sleep. It's time for me to become a god. Outside the God-fiend sea. In Han Fei's palm, the infinity water gathered and turned into a palm-sized cone. On the cone, lightning techniques surrounded it and fused with it. The Ragnarok and the Tao of Slaughter God were both activated, making the infinity water extremely dazzling. Go. The infinity water surrounded Han Fei and stabbed into the heads of one of the 6 people around him. Pfft. This person had no power to resist at all. Even if he was an immortal level cultivator, so what? Standing still and unable to release his strength, he was no different from a fish or shrimp. Puff. 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 The infinity water surrounded the 6 people, 1, 2, 3, until all 6 of them were pierced and their souls were destroyed. Han Fei waved his hand and collected the 6 people into his origin star. Han Fei grinned and his voice was cold and murderous. So what if they are immortals? If I want you to die, you have to die. 6 immortal level cultivators had perished. Those who were still coveting the demon purification pot finally realized their situation. The demon purification pot was good, but did they have the life to take it? They were 6 immortal level powerhouses. Could they be stronger than immortal level cultivators? Yu Dunv and Wood Demon Shanshan had already retreated. It was meaningless to fight Han Fei now. Bai Yu was not stupid and naturally realized this too. He immediately backed out of the barrier and shouted at everyone, all monarchs, work together to reinforce the barrier. Don't let Hanfei come out. However, Hanfei walked towards Bai Yi step by step. His body was enveloped by holy light, and his previous injuries had all recovered. Hanfei said calmly, "Do you think you can leave alive after I show my trump card?" Bai Yi snorted. "Hanfei, even if you have the demon purification pot, so what? As far as I know, the demon purification pot is not a combat treasure. What can you do if I don't get close to you? Today, you shouldn't have revealed the demon purification pot just to avoid using the void mark." Hanfei grinned. "Who said that I won't use the void mark?" Huh? Everybody was stunned. What did he mean? Why would he show the demon purification pot if he planned to use the void seal? In the next moment, Hanfei said leisurely, "Senior Brother Six God, please take action. The fury in my heart can only be appeased with the heads of hundreds of millions of enemies. What I want is that everyone here today, including those in that big ship, all die." As soon as Hanfei said so, a childish voice replied, "Okay. Buzz." At the same time, millions of kilometers away from this world, all the way to the battlefield, black holes appeared one after another. Knock, knock, knock. In the blink of an eye, the sky became like a beehive. There were thousands of black holes densely packed. Each of these black holes stretched tens of thousands of kilometers, and buzzing sounds came from inside. In the giant ship, the middle-aged man seemed to realize something and immediately tried to penetrate the void to drive the giant ship away. Clang. Unfortunately, he couldn't leave after Hanfei said that. With a clang, a figure descended from the sky and stepped on the giant ship. Taking a closer look, it was a child who looked to be in his teens. This person's head was bare, and there was a red ribbon around his neck that fluttered in the wind. If one only looked at this child, he wouldn't think him to be dangerous or powerful. However, when the child stood still, black smoke spread out of his eyes, and a huge worm appeared behind him. Its body was green and black, and it could reach tens of thousands of kilometers long. It had 6 wings, and its 2 front limbs were like sickles as it pressed against the huge ship. This was actually an extremely huge mantis. In the camp of the Central Sea Divine Realm, Yu Dun's face suddenly changed. How could it be him? The overlord of the North Sea, the 6-god mantis, how could he be from the Void Temple? These black holes all over the sky are wormholes. Everyone, be careful. At this moment, many people were stunned. They had been forcing Hanfei to use the void mark, but they had always thought that the Void Temple was full of loners. However, Senior Brother Six God was a low-key person. Senior Brother Leiheng had tried to persuade Senior Brother Six God to come out more and even persuade Senior Brother Six God to travel the Sea of Stars with him, but Senior Brother Six God never agreed. It could be seen that Senior Brother Six God was usually quiet. Hanfei was also slightly surprised that these people didn't know that Senior Brother Six God was from the Void Temple. But it wasn't surprising, because no one knew that Fengyu was from the Void Temple. It didn't mean that everyone who entered the Void Temple would expose their identity to the world. For example, Senior Brother Six God. For example, Fengyu. As if to confirm Yu Dun's words, a dense army of insects flew out of the wormholes that filled the sky. Like black pillars, they gushed out of the holes. These insects included flying mantises, various beetles, cumbersome giant heavenly bulls, colorful flying locusts, as many as 10,000 kinds of void ants, weirdly shaped moths, dazzling butterflies, earthworms that could penetrate the void, and huge, powerful unicorn beetles. There were too many insects of all kinds to count, and they kept popping out. In any case, at that moment, there were demonic insects everywhere. Senior Brother Six God said in a childish voice, "Sky Spiderworm Valley, who do you think you are? How dare you touch my junior brother?" A golden page appeared in front of Senior Brother Six God. He tapped at the golden page and said, "Insects of the heavens, listen to my command. Kill all insects from the Sky Spiderworm Valley." Swish! 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 The golden page immediately turned into billions of golden lights and entered all the wormholes in the sky. Udum's face was pale, and her body was trembling. Why? Why was the sixth god? Mantis, one of the overlords of the insect race, a member of the Void Temple? It's over. The Sky Spiderworm Valley is doomed. At the bottom of the sea, gigantic rhinoceros beetles that were thousands of meters long were charged in the opposite direction of the sea demon tide with their single horns. Bang! 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 Wherever the horns hit, the sea demons were all crushed. Butterflies danced everywhere in the seaborne prairie. There were all kinds of illusions and rosemary fragrances. Many strong masters from the divine demon forest fell into various illusions. After one walked out, another entered. Most of them couldn't walk out at all and were killed in the illusions. The worm tide in the Sky Spiderworm Valley was caught up by countless void worms. They trembled nonstop, and the bottom of the sea was almost covered with worm corpses. The ancient demon army, on the other hand, encountered all kinds of dense void ants. Like flying locusts, they swept past. Wherever the void ants passed, there was nothing but bones. These big demons activated all kinds of techniques. Although they could annihilate ants, there were too many void ants. Furthermore, these void ants had a clear division of labor. They even formed a unique cone-shaped defense system. Once one swath of ants died, the other would continue to fill in. Once they approached, no matter what kind of big demon it was, they would be bitten through and devoured. Although some big demons had tough bodies, they would be drilled through wherever there was a hole, and their internal organs would be eaten in the blink of an eye. Some powerful demons tried to block it with barriers and arrays. However, a special gray void ant could extract the energy of the barrier and break through their barriers in only a few seconds. Originally, the coalition army was besieging the human race, but now, the insects were covering the coalition army. Oh my God! The human beings who were in the middle of defense all watched this scene in shock. They felt their blood freeze and their mouths water. Too many insects had appeared around them. When they saw these insects, they only had one thought in their hearts. It's over. I'm doomed this time. However, at the moment of despair, they discovered that those insects didn't attack them, but counterattacked from their line. The enemies that they could only resist with difficulty were devoured by these insects in an instant. Did these insects help us? It's Master Human Emperor. These insects must be allies of Master Human Emperor. Ha ha ha, killing insects with insects. Master Human Emperor is awesome. Thieves of the Sky Spiderworm Valley, it's time for you to die. Ha ha ha, that's great. F***CK, let me tell you, I almost peed my pants just now. I almost wanted to die. How am I supposed to fight these insects? Me too. I'm still shaking. I can't watch this. They arouse my trypophobia. I don't want to be an enemy of insects for the rest of my life. I agree with you. On Luo Xiaobai's side, Lu Qianxi exclaimed, "It's horrible. Is this the power of the insects?" The Beast King said, "Wow, they're simply the natural bane of ferocious beasts." The elder of the lava giant said, "The insect race is one of the 6 ancient races. Legend has it that in the primeval era, they were at their peak. Wherever the insect race passed, even the sea of stars trembled. They once made great contributions in the wars against the ominous." Luo Xiaobai added, "But they would be easily controlled by the ominous, right?" The elder of the lava giant said, "That's right, but the insect race took another path. They fused their insect thoughts and gathered the lives of an entire race into a human and fought the ominous in a human form. They would rather die than let their insect bodies be tainted by the ominous." At this moment, on the battlefield where Han Fei was, one insect person after another walked out of the wormhole. Some were in the sea establishment realm, some were in the sky opening realm, and some were in the monarch realm. They all went to different battlefields. Those monarchs who wanted to retreat were all surrounded and couldn't escape. The strong masters of the insect race wouldn't hesitate at all. They had already started to fight. At this time, the barrier that blocked Han Fei had been sucked up by the insects, and it could no longer block Han Fei. Han Fei was also a little surprised. He didn't expect Senior Brother Six God to look like a kid. However, Han Fei cupped his hands with a smile. "Thank you for your help, Senior Brother Six God." Senior Brother Six God said, "Don't laugh. Hold it in." Han Fei said, "Ha, I'm not laughing. I won't laugh." Looking at the beaming Han Fei, Senior Brother Six God snorted and ignored him. At this moment, a middle-aged man stepped into the void. "Six God Mantis, you are the overlord of the North Sea. Even if you are a disciple of the Void Temple, how can you personally interfere in the battle here? Is this the so-called fairness of the Void Temple?" Senior Brother Six God looked at this person quietly. "When you try to wipe out the human race, have you ever thought about what fairness is? You ask me what fairness is? Heh, if the Void Temple says it's fair, it is. If the Void Temple says it's not, it's not." The middle-aged man said, "The Void Temple mobilized all the insects to attack us. It seems that you are determined to become enemies with everyone in the world?" Senior Brother Six God said, "Firstly, you can't represent everyone in the world. Secondly, if the Void Temple becomes the enemy of everyone in the world, everyone in the world must be wrong. Thirdly, you overestimate yourself. Do you think you're worthy of me mobilizing all the insects?" Chi La. Behind Senior Brother Six God, the Six God Mantis slashed down with its sickle and sharp blade-like feet, cutting the huge ship into 3 pieces before it exploded. Senior Brother Six God looked at the middleman and said casually, "I'm going to kill you. Get ready." The middle-aged man's expression changed drastically. "I'm a great monarch. I didn't participate in this battle." Senior Brother Six God said calmly, "Since you're here, you have to die. This is your fate." With that, Senior Brother Six God put his hands together, and the void was locked. The Six God Mantis slashed down with one claw, and the heavens and earth seemed to have been split open. The huge claw blade excited countless people. How could they resist this thing? The middle-aged man roared, Overlord of the North Sea. I'm the great monarch of the ancient demon race. If you kill me, can your North Sea afford the consequences? Senior Brother Six God said, Shut up. Ah. Seeing that he couldn't shake Senior Brother Six God at all, the middle-aged man seemed to have made a decision. With a roar, he turned into a primordial bull and rammed at the childlike body of Senior Brother Six God with a devastating force. Although he didn't know why the Overlord of the North Sea had two bodies, it was obvious that this little baldy looked much easier to deal with than the Six God Mantis. Boom. A dull bang swept across the world, which should have caused terrifying ripples, but in Han Fei's opinion, the power formed by the collision seemed to have been absorbed by Senior Brother Six God's body. Bang! Then, the giant bull bounced back. He said in shock, How is it possible? How can you swallow my law body? Senior Brother Six God scratched his head. I don't know how to fight, but I can eat. The reckless bull great monarch. Everyone. Han Fei looked at the ferocious and destructive sickle and thought to himself. This is called not knowing how to fight? Isn't this sheer lying? At this moment, the reckless bull great monarch had nowhere to dodge, and the mantis's claw had already slashed down. Billions of hairs rose from the body of the reckless bull great monarch, turning into Tao patterns that filled the sky, forming a huge array. Rip. A golden line appeared on the big array, which was cut in half by the sickle. Ah! The middle-aged man summoned nearly 10 spiritual treasures at once, but when they touched the sickle claw, they shattered one after another, unable to stop the giant claw at all. God's horn. The reckless bull great monarch went crazy. It burned its life, soul, and transformed into a reckless bull Dharma idol. Its huge horns welcomed the sky as it smashed at the huge mantis claw, trying to shatter the sickle with its strongest horn. Crack! Crack! A crisp cracking sound came, but what shattered was not the mantis sickle, but the bull horn. Pfft! The majestic bull hit the mantis sickle head-on and was cut in half together with its horn. Senior Brother Six God frowned. It's really strange. Someone bumped into my knife because he couldn't wait to die. Han Fei was speechless. Was that he couldn't wait to die? He clearly wants to knock away your mantis sickle. However, this scene shocked Han Fei. Wasn't Senior Brother Six God ranked ninth? But why did his combat power feel no weaker than that of Senior Brother Azure Dragon? In fact, even Senior Brother Azure Dragon didn't seem to be as strong as him. However, this was not the time to think about this. The great monarch was not dead yet. His soul wanted to run, but Senior Brother Six God clasped his hands, and a black hole appeared in front of him. Huff. As Senior Brother Six God took a deep breath, his soul and body were sucked back by Senior Brother Six God. In the end, they turned into a small dot and were forcefully swallowed by Senior Brother Six God. Han Fei. The strong masters of the Central Sea Divine Realm. What a freak! Han Fei muttered in his heart. From the looks of it, only he and Feng Yu were relatively normal in the entire Void Temple. Oh, maybe Senior Brother Lei Heng was normal too. After all, he had once been chased like a stray dog. Rumble. After the death of the great monarch, the sky changed and cracks spread throughout the East Sea Divine Realm. Great Monarch East Marshal shook his head slightly. The guys from the Void Temple were still as violent as before. They had killed a great monarch. Were they going to completely fall out with the Central Sea Divine Realm? Alas! Another storm of blood. In the Central Sea Divine Realm, among the ancient demons, a great monarch level powerhouse suddenly changed his expression and stood in the sky. Good. What a great void temple. You killed a great monarch level powerhouse of our race just because of the fights among our disciples. Do you really think we're afraid of your void temple? At this moment, another great monarch slightly shook his head. I told the ancient demons not to send a great monarch to guard the battle. Great, now. They've lost a great monarch for nothing. Someone smiled. I'm afraid that the great monarch wants to take the demon purification pot, right? Hee hee. Otherwise, why did he rush there alone so quickly? In the West Wilderness, a certain bandit group, Jean Nanny, muttered, another one died. The East Sea is indeed a troubled place. In the headquarters of the Southern Dipper in the South Sea Divine Realm, an edict was issued. Assassins of Southern Dipper shall not enter the East Sea Divine Realm for the time being. The great monarchs of the Phoenix divine race looked at the sky, and the patriarch said leisurely, I bet that the death of this great monarch must have something to do with Han Fei. And you don't have to bet. He's responsible for the deaths of all those great monarchs. This one must be no exception. Feng Yu's second uncle, Xiaoyu, is the best. If Xiaoyu is like this, I'm afraid our family will have to think about how to fight every day. The white-bearded elder, beside the three of them, was the primordial star tree. He said leisurely, if the golden age of the ancient human race can be restored, the world will change. After Senior Brother Six God finished his business, he looked at Han Fei and said, Little Junior Brother, the great monarch here is dead, so I won't take any action. As for the others, solve them by yourself. Senior Brother Six God said that he wouldn't do anything, but at this moment there were at least 20 immortal-level insect cultivators surrounding the immortal-level cultivators from the Central Sea Divine Realm. Bai Yi of the ancient demon race was attacking crazily, trying to rush out. Now that the great monarch had died, he had lost his trump card. Why? Why was the overlord of the North Sea, from the Void Temple? Han Fei stepped in the air and slowly walked towards Bai Yi. As he walked, he said to the strong masters of the insect race, well, can you leave those two behind? Yes, that spider and the tree demon. Then, Han Fei turned his head and looked at Bai Yi. Bai Yi, right? You seemed to be looking forward to me using the void mark, right? Why are you so panicked now? What are you afraid of? The appearance of Senior Brother Six God had reversed the human race's battle situation. Now the battlefield situation could be described as one-sided. Without the interference of the other immortal-level powerhouses, Bai Yi was no longer as confident as before. Watching Han Fei walk over step by step, he was inexplicably frightened. Being crushed by Han Fei's momentum, Bai Yi realized his fear and burst into fury. He roared, do you think you've won? Even if you have the demon purification pot, so what? Who on the battlefield can defeat me? As he spoke, Bai Yi completely erupted. The power of law surged on his body, and a bright moon wheel appeared behind him. From the wheel, a huge hand shot out, like a demon king descending. In terms of strength, Bai Yi was indeed a heavenly talent of the ancient demon race. His strength was not something ordinary immortals could compare to. However, it depended on who his opponent was. Han Fei looked at the hand casually without stopping. Behind him, a Dharma idol 33,000 feet tall appeared. Han Fei and his Dharma idol were both glowing with golden light. The Dharma idol clenched his fist like a dazzling star. Bang! Ripples spread across the sea, and the god-fiend hand and the star fist technique exploded at the same time. The thunder god's hammer in Han Fei's hand had been accumulating power for a long time, and the ultimate hammer burst out. This time it was no longer a full-strength blow, but the deafening sound of millions of heavy hammers pounding. Bang! 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 The terrifying power of 5,000 stars covered the space around Bai Yi. In less than 10 seconds, the two threw hundreds of thousands of punches at each other. The more he fought, the more shocked Bai Yi became. How is that possible? Even if you have completely mastered the heavenly law jade marrow bone, how can you have such a physique? Han Fei's voice was calm. You only know that I've mastered the heavenly Tao jade marrow bone, but you don't know that I've also cultivated the supreme divine technique of the human race. I can also use the dual killing technique of body and soul. I walked the path of invincibility and cultivated the Tao of slaughter God. It's only natural that I can kill you. Bang! 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 In less than 20 seconds, Bai Yi was smashed so hard that he couldn't even keep his human form. Han Fei saw a silver wolf appear, dripping with blood. However, the small tower appeared again and hovered above Bai Yi's head. As mystic light swept past, Bai Yi's injuries were covered by more than half in the blink of an eye. Ha ha ha. You can't kill me. I have the nature spiritual treasure, heavenly law. Jade Spirit Tower. You can't kill me. Oh, really? Han Fei couldn't help but look at the small tower that couldn't be stolen. No wonder. It turned out to be a nature spiritual treasure. This made sense. At the level of a nature spiritual treasure, it had strong autonomy. Perhaps its level was too high, so it resisted the void stealing technique. Han Fei couldn't help but wonder if there was still a chance to improve void fishing. When the eighth vine returned, he should be able to deduce a technique that surpassed the monarch realm, right? However, he could still try to steal this tower. Steal. The heavenly Tao Jade Spirit Tower disappeared again and reappeared between Han Fei and Bai Yi, struggling crazily. Han Fei's lips curled. Do you think you're the only one who has a nature spiritual treasure? Go, blow him up. Han Fei cursed and the thunder god's hammer flew out of his hand, turning into a lightning mark, and smashed at the heavenly law Jade Spirit Tower. Without Han Fei controlling it, the thunder god's hammer was wild. As if it could launch the thousand thunder flash, it flickered in the void and law lightning poured down on the heavenly Tao Jade Spirit Tower. As for the heavenly Tao Jade Spirit Tower, it buzzed and emitted a protective mystic light, colliding with the thunder god's hammer. The two shuttled through the void, no longer caring about Han Fei and Bai Yi. How is it possible? How do you have a nature spiritual treasure too? Bai Yi's face changed greatly. A nature spiritual treasure, a real legendary secret treasure, was rare in the world. Each of them had their own unique and powerful abilities. He had used all kinds of means to obtain this heavenly Tao Jade Spirit Tower. But how old was Han Fei? How many years had he cultivated? How could he also have such a treasure? Han Fei waved his hand, and the infinity water appeared in his hand and turned into a short knife. Bai Yi was shocked. Why? Do you have a second nature spiritual treasure? Roar. The white wild wolf pounced up and roared at the moon, spewing out ice laws. Seeing this, Han Fei smiled and said casually, Yin Yang life death forbidden. Spell. Buzz. In the next moment, this place turned into a space where yin and yang circulated, and the power of ice instantly disintegrated here. Bai Yi intuitively felt that the great Tao of ice in his body was being swallowed by this strange yin and yang barrier and quickly passed away. Stop pretending. Open. Bang. Han Fei certainly wouldn't let Bai Yi attack in the yin-yang life-death forbidden spell. Although he knew that little black and little white could definitely block it, it was unnecessary. Bai Yi was doomed to die today. He couldn't bear to see little black and little white injured. Han Fei stepped into the yin-yang life-death restriction and used the void stealing technique to steal Bai Yi's claw that could tear the sky and the earth apart. In an instant, he approached him with Thousand Thunder Flash. The drawing technique. Pfft. One of Bai Yi's giant claws was cut off, and the other giant claw slapped down. Han Fei put his hands together and took this blow head-on. Supreme Yin-Yang Wheel. The Yin-Yang life-death forbidden spell disappeared, and the Supreme Yin-Yang Will slashed down on Bai Yi's head. Bai Yi pounced forward crazily to avoid this blow, but a small half of his body was cut off. However, what awaited him was a pair of ruthless and indifferent bird eyes. Bai Yi discovered that the Emperor Sparrow had appeared in front of him at some point in time. His pair of sharp claws transformed into infinite sizes, enveloped in black light, and grabbed at Bai Yi. What can you, a mere Tao prover, do to me? On Bai Yi's body, the silver hair left his body and turned into an infinite rain of swords, drilling into the sky, trying to penetrate the Emperor Sparrow. However, the sword rain that filled the sky seemed to only penetrate a phantom. The Emperor Sparrow said proudly, my body is versed in the mysteries, impervious to all laws. Do you really think these petty mortal arts can harm me? Mental wander, soul separation claw. One of Bai Yi's eyes exploded, and half of his soul power was torn apart. However, after performing this blow, the ferocious shadow of the Emperor Sparrow turned into a ray of light and landed on Han Fei's shoulder again. This is as far as I can go. Han Fei didn't say much. The Emperor Sparrow had just reached the peak of the Tao proving level, and it was already unbelievable that it could hurt Bai Yi like this. Han Fei rushed up and used the silencing fist to lock the air to defend against the enemy. At the same time, he said, why didn't I know you had this ability? Emperor Sparrow, I'm not just good at staring. In terms of combat power, I'm unparalleled in the world. Bang! Being punched into the bottom of the sea by Han Fei, Bai Yi jumped up and controlled half of his body to escape, but Han Fei's Dharma idol slapped him back. Rumble. He grabbed Bai Yi's body and held it tightly in his hand. He squeezed hard, but failed to crush it. A bronze bell appeared on the surface of Bai Yi's body. Han Fei's Dharma idol closed his hands and pressed down. Rumble. The bronze bell exploded, but Bai Yi took the opportunity to escape. Do you think you're the only one with a Dharma idol? Silver Wolf Dharma idol. Come out. Roar. The silver wolf roared, jumped up, and pounced at Han Fei's Dharma idol. Just when Bai Yi thought that he could escape this way, he was shocked to see that the silver wolf Dharma idol suspended in midair, and Han Fei's Dharma idol barehandedly prying open the wolf's mouth. Rip. Under the witness of countless people, the silver wolf Dharma idol was torn in half. Hanfei's Dharma idol opened its mouth and sucked the silver wolf Dharma idol into its stomach. Not far away, Senior Brother Six God, who was watching the battle, said indifferently, "Little junior brother, your Dharma idol is really cruel." Hanfei said, "Senior Brother Six God, I just saw you swallow a great monarch." The childish voice of Senior Brother Six God said, "It's different. I am a bug, and you are a human." Hanfei rolled his eyes. This reason was really special. So, insects could just eat anything? Bai didn't want to accept his fate. He really panicked. The nature spiritual treasure seemed to be suppressed by that damn hammer. His Dharma idol was eaten, and half of his body was cut off. He had no time to recover. Half of his soul was torn off, and he was seriously injured. The golden bell protecting his body was crushed. In terms of speed, he was no match for the Thousand Thunder Flash. How could he escape? And Hanfei had already given him an answer. Thousands of lightning marks appeared beside him, fist lights raged, and knife aura swept across. After about half an hour, Bai Yi was finally defeated. In his unwillingness and humiliation, he was beheaded by Hanfei. However, Hanfei didn't kill him immediately, but pierced the head of the silver wolf into the god ceiling. Spear formed by the infinity water. Hanfei said, "You are only worthy of becoming an ingredient for my meal. I'll use you as a dish to go with my wine." Bai Yi felt a chill down his spine. Was this guy really going to eat him? He roared, "Hanfei, if you kill me, the ancient demons will never let you and the human race off." Haha. Do you think I will let go of your ancient demon race? Don't worry. Many members of your ancient demon race are edible. They will be food for our human race. After that, Hanfei pressed a hand on Bai Ye's head and forcibly separated the connection between him and the heavenly Tao Jade Spirit Tower with the soul attracting technique. As soon as the connection was severed, the heavenly Tao Jade Spirit Tower immediately wanted to escape. However, compared to the Thunder God's hammer, it was too slow. The small tower was sent flying by the hammer of the Thunder God. Hanfei clasped the tower with a hand. Surrender or be destroyed? If you resist, I'll crush you today. The heavenly Tao Jade Spirit Tower struggled for a while and fell silent. Clearly, it knew what was good for it. Its master had been captured and even the great monarch had died. What was the point of fighting? Just accept fate. Besides, this guy seemed to be much stronger than Bai Yi, although he was now in trouble. He didn't know if it would be a good ending if he followed this guy. Hanfei was also looking at the heavenly Tao Jade Spirit Tower, and information popped up in his eyes. Name, Creation Jade Spirit Tower, damaged. Introduction: The Creation Jade Spirit Tower was born from primordial jade. It contains the laws of nature and can be used for all kinds of laws. The tower contains the inscriptions of laws and has formed a spiritual cage of its own. Because it once suppressed a god, it suffered certain damage. This tower can suppress all powerhouses below the god realm and refine them into immortal pills that can repair one's body. It can also refine strong masters and strip them of their great Daos. This tower is born with spirituality. Once it acknowledges a master, under the same rules of the heavenly Tao, it can find its master. Quality: low-quality nature spiritual treasure. Attached soul: none. Effect 1: Spiritual tower cage, under certain conditions, can suppress all powerhouses below the god realm. Effect 2. Refine strong cultivators into immortal pills, repair your body, and improve your strength. Effect 3. By refining the strong, it can deprive them of their great daos and completely master their great daos. Can't be reforged. Unrefined. Note, because of the damage to the spiritual tower, all kinds of its effects have been reduced. So powerful? Han Fei couldn't help being shocked by the abilities of the creation jade. Spiritual tower. Obviously, this spiritual tower was not a combat-type nature. Spiritual treasure, so it was normal for it to be suppressed by the thunder. God's hammer. However, if this spiritual tower was repaired, its quality might even exceed the thunder god's hammer. After all, this thing had once suppressed a god, but it must have failed to suppress it and was broken through, so it was reduced to a low-quality nature spiritual treasure. As for the immortal pill, judging from its name, it was definitely of a high level. He could try it on Bai Yi. Well, he could just throw the wolf head in and keep the wolf body to eat. As for stripping away the great Tao, Han Fei wasn't too interested in it. He had already mastered a lot of great Daos. However, he could use this method to help some strong masters of the human race quickly increase their strength. There were quite a few immortals here. There were nearly 200 people at the carefree level and the Tao proving level. If he could separate these people's great Tao and give them to human sky openers to comprehend, wouldn't he be able to quickly build Tao proving cultivators? Although it might not be as simple as he thought, this matter was very promising. He might as well give it a try. However, how could such a powerful nature spiritual treasure fall into the hands of an immortal level? Han Fei admitted that Bai Yi was very strong. Fortunately, he had many means. With the help of the Emperor Sparrow, Little Black and Little White, and the Thunder God's hammer, he managed to take Bai Yi down. However, wouldn't great monarchs be interested in such a nature spiritual treasure? Why did they just let an immortal level cultivator take such a high level spiritual treasure? Or maybe, Bai Yi's identity was not simple? However, so what? The ancient demon race and the human race were already mortal enemies. How could he just forget the lives of 70 billion of human compatriots? Han Fei extended his hand and a drop of his essence blood flew out. Follow me. I'll repair you and help you return to the peak. The little tower trembled a few times. It was unknown if it believed Han Fei. But it couldn't run away now. The opponent's hammer was very powerful. At its peak state, it might not be afraid, but now, it really couldn't beat the hammer. While refining the small tower, Han Fei beckoned, Senior Brother 6 God, do you want to stay and eat wolf meat after this battle is over? This guy is known as a pure-blooded ancient demon. Its meat must be delicious. Senior Brother 6 God smiled. Okay. I've long heard from 5th Senior Brother that little junior brother's culinary skills are unparalleled in the world. I'm in for a treat today. At this moment, Luo Xiaobai had already summoned the human race to launch a full-scale counterattack. On the battlefield, the sound of fighting shook the sky. Han Fei's voice resounded through the sky. My fellow human beings, I am human. Sovereign Han Fei. I announce that the human race has won this battle. Upon my return, I will establish a prosperous era for the human race. Those who are enemies of our race will be dealt with accordingly. In short, the rise of the human race is unstoppable. Even if gods or Buddhas try to stop us, they will be killed. Long live the human emperor. Human emperor is invincible. I'm willing to follow the human emperor forever. I knew it. As long as Master Human Emperor is here, the human race will not be destroyed. Everyone, from today onwards, there will be no obstacles ahead. Han Fei paused and reminded them, humans, remember to keep those ancient demons and sea demons that are edible. I'll lead you to fight your way out and celebrate. Ha ha ha. Countless people laughed out loud. I've hunted a giant shark. I'll share it with everyone. That's nothing. I'm just hunting a venerable crab. Anyone who sees it will have a share. I have an ancient demon. I don't know what it is, but it has meat. It's definitely edible. A sea establisher smiled casually. Well, I've hunted several flood dragons. I can't eat all of them alone. Let's share them. Awesome. Great. Bai Yi, who was impaled by Han Fei's spear, turned furious and roared, Han Fei, the ancient demons won't let you go. My ancestor is a peak-level great monarch. He will avenge me and kill you. Alright, then I'll cook you and eat your meat in front of them. I'd like to see if your so-called great monarch ancestor can save you. Or, will he save you, or will I cook him too? How dare you? Slap. Shut up. Han Fei cut off the wolf's tongue and put it away. This was also an ingredient and couldn't be wasted. The ancient demons who were still struggling were horrified. The human race wasn't like this before. Why was this human emperor so crazy? With the addition of the North Sea insects to the battlefield, the siege was carried out very quickly. Han Fei witnessed what was called the insect race. Wherever they went, they truly swept away everything like a storm. Perhaps because Han Fei said that he wanted to eat ancient demons' meat. Senior Brother 6, God, left the ancient demon corpses to him. In this battle, the number of decapitated heads is unknown, but it is definitely more than tens of billions. The sea demons' tide collapsed. Without restraint, the sea demons that hadn't come to the battlefield all fled. They didn't want to participate in the battle, but were controlled by the ancient demons. Now that the ancient demons were gone and no one was controlling them, they naturally escaped. In just one day, outside the God-fiend sea, it was full of corpses, and within tens of millions of kilometers, it had completely turned into a sea of blood. The insects of the North Sea retreated from the wormholes one after another, and all the human beings were mobilized to clean up the battlefield. To them, this battlefield was a valuable treasure trove. There was so much to clean up that they couldn't even pick up everything. Almost everyone had picked up so much that their hands were sore. In the human camp, Han Fei, Senior Brother 6 God, Luo Xiaobai, the Beast King, Lu Qianxi, the two elders of the lava giants, and Chu Hao, who didn't come out just now, were gathered in a circle. Beside them stood a spear formed by the infinity water, and Bai Ye's silver wolf head was still inserted onto it, his eyes filled with anger. This was because in the middle of the people, there was a huge pot that was cooking his flesh and blood. Not far away, Yu Dunv and Wood Demon Shanshan were trembling under a barrier. They couldn't believe that Han Fei was really going to eat Bai Yi. They couldn't believe that a pure-blooded primordial silver wolf would watch himself being eaten. It was truly horrifying. However, the two women didn't dare to say anything. They had thought that they would gain great credits this time, but now, they only hoped that they wouldn't become food. Inviting Senior Brother 6 God to dinner, Han Fei didn't ask anything. Eating. Was eating. This was his way of thanking him. Senior brother Six God said, "Little junior brother, I didn't expect the demon purification pot to be with you. However, I'm afraid the Central Sea Divine Realm will go crazy since you've shown the demon purification pot." They had done that once 100,000 years ago, when 100 great monarchs fought from the West Sea to the East Sea just to get the demon purification pot. You have to be mentally prepared. Han Fei said, "Senior brother, don't worry. My path has always been bumpy. Even if I don't have the demon purification pot, I still have many enemies. So, it doesn't matter if the demon purification pot is shown or not. Besides, the Central Sea Divine Realm bullied me too much. A big victory alone is not enough. Our 70 billion compatriots won't die in vain." Han Fei's words were cold and murderous. Lu Qianxi and the elders of the lava giants didn't dare to interrupt at all. The Beast King said casually, "That's right. Those B***stars should be executed." Luo Xiaobai asked, "How long will it take for those great monarchs to arrive?" Senior brother Six God said, "If my guess is correct, someone will probably arrive in a few hours. But they won't attack alone. At least 3 or 5 great monarchs will take action together tentatively." Han Fei asked, "Senior brother Six God, can you stay for 2 more days? You don't have to do anything, but the human race still needs some time to clean up the battlefield." Senior brother Six God nodded slightly. "Okay." Han Fei immediately smiled and said, "Come on, let's eat." Senior brother Six God, I made braised wolf meat, wolf bones and sauce, frozen wolf marrow, stir fried wolf heart, and steamed wolf tongue for you. Watching from the side, Baiyu was trembling with anger. He was about to go crazy as he watched his flesh and blood being cut up and even his P***nis being fed to the insects by the A**shoal Han Fei. Unfortunately, he was sealed, his tongue was pulled out, and his soul was sealed. He couldn't speak at all. After eating and drinking to his heart's content, senior brother Six God sat cross-legged on the head of the big mantis. Han Fei asked around and learned that the big mantis was senior brother Six God's companion spirit. This surprised Han Fei. Therefore, senior brother Six God was a great monarch himself, and his companion spirit was also a great monarch, and both of them were extremely powerful, so he could control the North Sea. He couldn't be more envious. Senior brother Six God alone occupied one of the 5 realms. How powerful was that? For a moment, he wondered why senior brother Six God didn't surpass 5th senior brother in ranking. It didn't make sense. 5th senior brother just drank, ate meat, and slept every day. Achoo. In the chaotic ice domain, 5th senior brother smacked his lips. What a pity. It's a pity that I can't leave the chaotic wasteland. Otherwise, I would have to eat at least one of the wolf legs. Well, little junior brother probably hasn't finished eating. I'll have him save some food for me and bring it to me in the next meeting. People were cleaning up the battlefield in full swing, and the Beast King and the others had returned to their positions. Han Fei and Luo Xiaobai came to Yudund and with Demon Shanshan. The 2 of them had already been crippled. All their treasures had been taken away, their great Tao had been severed, their souls were seriously injured, and their combat power had been reduced to the Tao-proving level. It was impossible for them to escape unless they wanted to court death immediately. Han Fei was still holding 2 skewers of wolf meat in his hand. While chewing, he asked, I'll only give you one chance. I hope you can grasp the chance. After asking you, I will search by yes soul. So, you'd better think carefully about whether to answer and how to answer my questions. Wood Demon Shanshan asked, what do you want to ask? Han Fei smiled and said, 3 of the 6 ancient races participated in the siege of the human race. I don't believe this is purely to suppress our human race and prevent it from rising. So, tell me the reason. You done spoke first, because of luck. Han Fei smiled faintly. Oh? It seems that you can't wait. Come on, then tell me. Think carefully and make yourself clear. I think spiders are edible too. You're a pure-blood demon, right? Yudumu shivered. What kind of person is this? How can you eat a spider? She said, it said that in the chaotic era, the 6 ancient lineages were born from the same vine and shared the luck of the world. When one lineage declines, the luck of this lineage will be inherited by the other 5 lineages. When the human race declines, the other 5 lineages will become stronger. If 5 of the 6 lineages decline, the remaining lineage will become extremely powerful and even become the master of this sea of stars. This is why our lineages don't want to see the human race prosper again. Oh? Han Fei and Luo Xiaobai looked at each other. This reason was really unexpected. Yu Dun continued, at present, it can be confirmed that not only can the 6 lineages snatch the luck of all races, but the luck of the 6 lineages far exceeds the luck of all other races. We attacked the human race because we wanted to snatch the luck of the human race. Luo Xiaobai asked, how? When the human race is destroyed, will their luck be transferred to you? Yu Dun looked at Han Fei hesitantly and shook her head slightly. No, to kill the chosen one. Han Fei frowned. Who is the chosen one? Me? Yu Dun said, the chosen one is not a specific person. You are, and Luo Xiaobai is. All human beings who have reached a high position and their cultivation strength is at the peak of the human race are. They are much luckier than ordinary human beings. If you kill them, you can obtain luck. Han Fei asked, doesn't that mean that everyone is the chosen one, but the strength of their luck is different? Yu Dun, you can understand it that way. Luo Xiaobai said, therefore, in your opinion, human beings are not humans. But luck. What you harvest is the overall luck of human beings. Yu Dun nodded. She didn't dare to lie at this moment. Even if she did, how could the overlords of the North Sea not know? Luo Xiaobai suddenly asked, according to what you said, since the 6 lineages can snatch the luck of all other races, why is there a situation of one's gain is another's loss in the fortune of the 6 lineages? If you hunt enough strong masters of all other races, can't you increase the luck of your lineage without limit? In that case, why do you have to deal with the human race? Yu Dun, competing for the luck of all other races and for the luck of the 6 lineages are 2 different things. One of the 6 lineages seizing the luck of all other races won't affect the other 5. But among the 6 lineages, if one lineage declines, the luck will flow to the other 5 lineages. Therefore, it's a one's gain is another's loss situation. Han Fei asked, so, the 6 lineages are special, or even integral? Just because they are integral, will luck flow among them? Yu Dun, I don't know about that. Luo Xiaobai said, according to what you said, the human race was extremely powerful in the chaotic era. Why didn't they destroy the other 5 lineages? And seize all the luck? At that time, the human race should be able to do it. Right? One of the 6 lineages can be destroyed. Wood Demon Shanshan suddenly said, although there are very few historical records of the chaotic era, we can still learn some things from the remaining records. In the past, the human race was at its peak and wanted to wipe out the other 5 lineages. However, the 6 lineages are indestructible, and they will always rise again in places you can't see. For example, before you entered the sea realm, the 5 lineages didn't know of your existence, so they couldn't destroy the human race. Suddenly, Han Fei and Luo Xiaobai looked at each other and seemed to think of something. Han Fei said, "Let me ask you a question. What is the primordial stillborn? Is it an undead?" Of the 6 lineages, everything was easy to understand except the ancient stillborn. What exactly was the stillborn? Han Fei could only think of undead creatures. No. Would Demon Shanshan confidently explain this issue? Han Fei and Luo Xiaobai were both slightly relieved. If the undead creatures were also from the ancient 6 lineages, the existence of the human race should have been discovered long ago. The former human race was so weak. Why didn't the undead creatures attack the human race? But Wood Demon Shanshan immediately said, "I know what you're thinking. Wherever there is a death, there are almost always undead creatures. We once suspected the undead is one of the 6 lineages, but no matter how strong an undead creature was killed, it couldn't increase our luck. Therefore, undead creatures are not from the ancient 6 bloodlines." Han Fei couldn't help but look at Senior Brother 6 God in the distance. Senior Brother 6 God said, "What they said is true. But most of the time, there is no conflict among the 6 lineages. It's just like the place where human beings live. There are demon plants, insects, demonic beasts, strange beasts, and undeads. Unless this entire world is annihilated, reincarnation is severed, and the soul sea is destroyed, the 6 lineages won't die. They only attacked the human race for their own selfish reasons." After a pause, Senior Brother 6 God said, "As for the primordial stillbirth, you don't need to know about it for now. It won't be too late to find out when you become a great monarch." Oh? Han Fei's heart did a flip. It seemed that there was a greater secret behind this ancient stillborn. It was probably because this lineage was too powerful for him to get involved now. At this point, Han Fei finally understood why these people attacked the human race. These people didn't care about living beings at all, but simply harvested the human race as a resource. The ancient demon race, the divine demon forest, the sky spider worm valley. You owe me 70 billion human lives. I'll remember you. Han Fei's eyes were cold. It was impossible for these 2 people to be released. He would refine them into immortal pills, or strip them of their great daos and make the best use of them. Luo Xiaobai said, "Since the 6 lineages harvest each other's luck, can other races also harvest the luck of the 6 lineages?" Yes. Wood Demon Shanshan nodded. Han Fei would definitely think of this, so she didn't hide it. The corners of Han Fei's mouth twitched. So, the strong masters of the Central Sea Divine Realm were here to harvest luck, because the human race was weak. Now that he knew this much, there was nothing else to ask. Han Fei extended his hand and the creation Jade Spirit Tower appeared. "Go, collect them." The two of them must have seen Bai use the creation Jade Spirit Tower, so they were shocked to see that Han Fei was going to use it on them. You done said hurriedly, Han Fei, you can exchange us for resources with the Sky Spider Worm Valley or the Divine Demon Forest. Don't the human race need resources? The two of us can exchange for a lot of resources, a lot of resources. Han Fei sneered. Sorry, when we reach the infinite mining area, the human race doesn't lack resources at all. If there weren't so many casualties in our human race, I would have been happy to exchange you for opportunities, but now, no way. The Creation Jade Tower first collected you Dunv. When collecting Wood Demon Shanshan, Han Fei hesitated and looked at Luo Xiaobai. This person is an immortal level demon plant. I can strip her of her great Tao or kill her and pluck her origin star. What do you think? Wood Demon Shanshan seemed to be prepared and quickly said, if you spare my life, I'm willing to teach Luo Xiaobai all my insights and two divine techniques. Luo Xiaobai was about to speak, when Han Fei said, then I'll keep you for now. Do you think I don't know what you're thinking? Even if you teach the divine techniques to Luo Xiaobai now, she won't have the time to comprehend them. You might still think that since the demon purification pot has been exposed, we'll definitely be subject to attacks from the great monarchs from the Central Sea Divine Realm, and then you might have a chance to be saved. Wood Demon Shanshan's expression didn't change at all, but she did think so in her heart. Now that Han Fei had used 3 void marks, the human race was doomed. As long as she stalled for time, things might turn for the better. However, Han Fei smiled casually. I'll keep you, but you should go into the tower first. Maybe when I'm in a good mood, I'll let you out and show you what despair is. 2 days later, the human beings had finished cleaning up the battlefield, and Han Fei knew that many great monarchs had arrived. However, for the sake of Senior Brother Six God, they didn't appear. After all, they couldn't bully Han Fei in front of the Void Temple. The Void Temple followed rules. It was already against the rules for a great monarch-level powerhouse to come personally. Han Fei had put himself in a desperate situation. They believed that the Void Temple had nothing to say. But killing Han Fei right under the nose of the Void Temple was a slap to the face of the Void Temple. They wouldn't do such a thing. The human race had been in the wilderness for 428 years, and their experience was enough. Han Fei believed that the current human race would no longer fear. Every one of them was brave. Han Fei had taken the entire human race into his origin star. The following battle was not something ordinary people could participate in. On the head of the Six God Mantis, Han Fei sat next to Senior Brother Six God. He still hadn't adapted to the childlike look of Senior Brother Six God, who looked like a handsome little monk. When Han Fei glanced at Senior Brother Six God's head countless times, the latter finally couldn't take it anymore. Little junior brother, that's enough. Huh. Senior Brother Six God, I'm just curious. Cultivators can change their appearance at will. Even if they don't, they will grow naturally. But what's wrong with you? Senior Brother Six God said in a childish voice, my childhood opportunity made me immortal and my appearance no longer changed. As for transformation, it's meaningless. Although his voice was immature, Senior Brother Six God tone was quite dignified, but not as serious as Senior Brother Azure Dragon's, but a little casual. Senior Brother Six God said, little junior brother, there are a lot of great monarch's coming. Although I don't know what kind of killer moves you have, the great monarchs are not stupid. They just don't know what trap you have set. Therefore, they won't attack easily. Once I leave, they only need to send a clone to test you out. If Chu-Hao is not exposed, you won't be able to stop them. Han Fei said, I know, but I didn't set any traps. If it weren't for you, they wouldn't dare to take action. I really want to invite you to stay and take a look. Senior Brother Six God said, it's great you have confidence to deal with them. By the way, your confidence is from the Godfiend Sea, isn't it? Han Fei was briefly stunned. You guessed it so easily? Senior Brother Six God said, actually, it's not easy to guess. The Godfiend Sea has existed for 1.8 million years, and nothing unusual has happened in it. In the past 1.8 million years. Besides, many strong masters can decay over time. Even if they guessed it, they wouldn't be too afraid. What they are afraid of is still the city deep in the infinite mining area. Han Fei was slightly relieved. That's good. But is that city really that scary? Senior Brother Six God said, the infinite mining area hasn't been divided up by the strong masters yet. Do you think it's really because of the mine demons? Although the mine demons are strong, how can they resist the countless strong masters in the sea realm? It's just that the strong masters in the sea realm don't want to have a conflict with that city. Han Fei remembered Great Monarch East Marshal's reminder, which gave him some information. That was, in the depths of the infinite mining area, there existed an ancient city called the Hidden Monarch City. It was said that there were gods in the Hidden Monarch City. Great Monarch East Marshal reminded him that if the human race wanted the infinite mining area, it wouldn't be enough to solve the various forces in the infinite mining area, and that they had to get the tacit approval of the Hidden Monarch City. But Han Fei chose both. At first, he took a fancy to the infinite mining area. Because of the resources there, as well as the existence of divine beasts and demonic beasts there. Then, he chose the infinite mining area because of the Hidden Monarch City. He had even made a plan. When the human race arrived at the infinite mining area, he would personally visit the city. If the Hidden Monarch City didn't agree, he would let the human race only operate in the mining areas that had been developed so far. If the hostility of the Hidden Monarch City was exposed, he would choose to use the Void Mark without hesitation. But in either case, the human race would definitely go to the infinite mining area. Han Fei smiled. I'll take it one step at a time. If the infinite mining areas really can't accommodate human beings, we'll go to the West Wilderness. Although the West Wilderness is very chaotic, I have some connections there. Senior Brother Six God nodded slightly and then got up. Then, I'm leaving. Take care, Senior Brother. Senior Brother Six God had left, but the insects outside the Godfiend Sea and even along the way were all his. Therefore, Han Fei finally knew why Senior Brother Six God was so well informed. Senior Brother Six God walked very handsomely. He flashed on the spot, and a human-shaped golden pillar of light pierced through the sky from the bottom of the sea. After the pillar of light disappeared, he was gone. Senior Brother Six God had left, but the Six God Mantis dug out a wormhole and entered it before leaving. As soon as Senior Brother Six God left, Han Fei sensed murderous intent from someone. It had only been less than half an hour. It was obvious that the newcomers were eager to kill. As expected by Senior Brother Six God, the source of the killing intent was a clone of a strong master, who was still 1,000,000 kilometers away from Han Fei. He tapped at the void and tried to pierce through Han Fei. However, the power of that finger was extinguished with a bang 100,000 kilometers away from Han Fei. Han Fei smiled but was not in a hurry to leave. Instead, he sat in the air and set up a big pot. Then, he extended his hand and the creation jade spirit tower appeared. A wolf head flew out, breathless and dying. Pfft! The infinity water turned into a god sealing spear and pierced the wolf's head. Again, standing erect next to Han Fei. Then, Han Fei took out the remains of the primordial silver wolf and said with a casual smile, "Come out now that you're here. You're a great monarch." "Why? Are you so cowardly?" While talking, Han Fei cleaned the wolf's skin, cut the meat open, and put it in the pot. Then, a pile of seasonings appeared in his hand. Han Fei seemed to be waiting for the wolf meat to be cooked before throwing the seasonings into the pot. Billions of kilometers away, a silver wolf of the ancient demon race stared at Han Fei coldly with murderous intent. Han Fei killed a heavenly talent of the primordial silver wolf tribe, snatched his treasure, and ate his flesh. How could he bear this? Good, good. Human emperor, right? Now that you're here, let's see how you dare to treat our tribe's heavenly talent like this. As he spoke, a middle-aged man stepped on the sky and arrived in an instant. He appeared tens of millions of kilometers away from Han Fei, and in the blink of an eye, he was 1,000,000 kilometers away. In another blink of an eye, he was only less than 100,000 kilometers away. However, at a distance of 100,000 kilometers, a spiral black hole appeared. The laws of heaven and earth pressed down and a person tried to destroy it with a wave of his hand, but in an instant, he was minced by the vortex. Then, a figure stood beside Han Fei with his hands behind his back. "I thought you really had the guts to come out, but it's just a clone. You're really gutless." Chu Hao appeared and glanced at the sky. "How many old friends have come today?" In the void, there were buzzing sounds. "Chu Hao, you're still alive? What a surprise." The demon purification pot fell into the hands of a mere human kid, but you didn't take it back. You're still alive even though you were so severely injured. Chu Hao, you're quite strong, aren't you? These great monarchs seemed to have stopped hiding and didn't care if Han Fei heard them or not. If it weren't for the fact that they hadn't confirmed if there was a trap here, they would have completely appeared. Chu Hao snorted coldly. "Why don't you try to see if I'm strong or not?" "Chu Hao, you're a great monarch, but you're giving the demon purification pot to someone else? Is that all you've got?" Someone mocked, trying to anger Chu Hao. Chu Hao, on the other hand, said indifferently, "You're great monarchs, yet you're ganging up on a carefree level cultivator? I've controlled the demon purification pot for at least 100,000 years. What about you? A bunch of trash." On the side, Han Fei stoked the fire and seasoned the meat at ease. He also set up a grill, skewered the wolf meat, and brushed the oil on it. He didn't doubt Chu Hao's strength. This guy had already become a great monarch 2,000,000 years ago. In the past, he ran from the Sea of Stars to the west wilderness of the Sea Realm and then to the East Sea with the demon purification pot under the pursuit of countless strong masters. And in the end, he still took away most of the demon purification pot. From this, it could be seen that Chu Hao's strength at his peak was beyond imagination. Besides, this was not his first life, but his sixth. How could such a great monarch be ordinary? This kind of great monarch was equivalent to old Han and his mother. They could easily become gods in each life. Therefore, although Han Fei didn't know how many great monarchs had come, he believed that Chu Hao was 99% the strongest among them. If he couldn't do this, how could he run around with the demon purification pot? Someone said, Chu Hao, the demon purification pot is no longer in your hands. We're not interested in you. If you leave, we won't trouble you again. What do you think? Chu Hao sneered. You sound as if you're letting me go like letting go of an ant. You people are always so annoying. You were like this 100,000 years ago, and remain the same now. Today, I'll temporarily be Han Fei's guardian. If you want to die, come. If you don't, get lost. Han Fei said, alas. Senior Chu Hao, come have a bite of wolf meat. It's physically exhausting to quarrel with others. The flesh of this pure-blooded, primordial silver wolf is indeed extraordinary. It's really a delicacy in the world. Next to him, Bai Yi almost had a mental breakdown. Watching his flesh and blood being eaten, he really didn't want to experience this feeling a second time. At this moment, he knew who was coming. He wanted to shout, but he couldn't say anything. He could only look in the direction of the voice. Han Fei and Chu Hao ate heartily, without any scruples. Han Fei was not in a hurry, neither was Chu Hao. Besides, Han Fei's culinary skills were very good. The wolf meat was indeed delicious. Finally, when the two of them were eating heartily for half an hour, Chu Hao suddenly moved. He flicked his finger in the air, and a wisp of law transformed into a sword in the sky. In an instant, a figure was pierced through and shattered. Han Fei clicked his tongue. Chu Hao's blow was very strong. With just a flick of his finger, he probably couldn't withstand it even if his original great Dao was fully activated. Sure enough, a great monarch was a great monarch. The only thing he could do in a battle of this level was to watch the show. As for Chu Hao, he glanced at Han Fei first. They seem to be prepared and start to test us. Then, Chu Hao shouted at the void, if you want to test my strength, come together. What's the point of sending your clones one by one? As you wish. In the next moment, Han Fei felt that the great Daos in this space was completely chaotic. Except for the corner where he was, the surrounding laws were rioting, and the world was filled with killing intent. Every blade of grass, tree, breeze, and sunshine seemed to contain terrifying power. That feeling made Han Fei feel as if he was on a lonely reef in the sea, about to be swallowed by the surging tide at any time. As for Chu Hao, he stood where he was and stomped, causing countless spirals to flash in all directions. Han Fei didn't know Chu Hao's combat techniques. He only knew that Chu Hao seemed to be especially good at this strange spiral or vortex-type attack. Then, within a radius of 1,000,000 kilometers, there were continuous booms and explosions. One layer after another, the void collapsed. In less than 100 seconds, Han Fei's perception could no longer extend out, because void cracks and spatial storms raged within 1,000,000 kilometers. There was no condition for his perception to extend. To put it bluntly, the 1,000,000-kilometer void had collapsed. At first, Chu Hao just stomped his feet. Then, a needle appeared in his palm and began to swim in the void. Later, it turned into thousands of needles and attacked at the same time. In the end, this combat method seemed to be insufficient. Chu Hao finally began to use his full strength. A bronze divine tree appeared behind him. The bronze tree grew leaves, and the leaves flew all over the sky, cutting through the void. Later, Han Fei saw with his own eyes that the needles and copper leaves were shattering. As for Chu Hao, blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. Chu Hao couldn't help but look at Han Fei. There are a lot of visitors. Han Fei narrowed his eyes and didn't speak. A voice came from the void. As expected of you. If I hadn't forced you to this point, I wouldn't have known that your injuries hadn't recovered. No wonder Han Fei was so unscrupulous. It turns out that you have recovered to this point. Someone laughed. Chu Hao, I admit that the power you showed is no weaker than 100,000 years ago. However, you haven't become stronger. You have once obtained the demon purification pot, so you should be able to guess how many people will come this time. How dare you be so unscrupulous in front of us? Chu Hao frowned slightly and looked at the void again. I can kill 5. Have you thought about who will come to die? Heh. Do you really think we're afraid of your bluffing? Even if some people die today, do you think what happened 100,000 years ago will happen again? Oh no, you might not be able to escape this time. Buzz buzz buzz. Chu Hao didn't attack again, and the great monarchs didn't attack again. Instead, 27 people appeared at once. Han Fei couldn't help but click his tongue. I didn't expect myself to be so valuable. 27 great monarchs have come in one go. You really think highly of me? After Han Fei finished speaking, Chu Hao shook his head slightly. Not just 27, 8 more haven't appeared yet. Han Fei narrowed his eyes. How many great monarchs were there in the East Sea? Divine Realm? The Divine Capital Dynasty, the Heavenly Race, the Fist Light Mountain, the Ghost Strait, the East Sword Pavilion, the Capital of Horror. Including the previous chaotic wasteland, how many great monarchs were there? In total? Were there 20? Just as Chu Hao finished speaking, an enchanting woman in sexy black tights and blue-black lip gloss walked out of the endless void. She looked at the great monarchs and said, the 3 ancestors have arrived and sealed off the infinite mining area to prevent the hidden monarch city from attacking us. Let's end this quickly. Remember, capture Han Fei alive.